If there's one place that defines American motorsport, it's here. The sandy beaches a few miles away held races for decades. It's where NASCAR was born. They need a place to race, a superspeedway so fast and so huge that the cars could run flat out all the way around. 1 million square yards of earth was moved to create the banking. The void left behind became Lake Lloyd. It built the foundation of NASCAR. In the decades that followed, Daytona became hallowed ground. The trophies here mean more than any other. Win the 500, put your name on the Harley J. Earl Trophy. Win the 24 hours and strap a Rolex on your wrist. The banks are not always kind. They're not always fair. And while Daytona wins bring a statistical highlight to any career, it's the losses that make it seem pointless. But for every untimely ending, there is a triumphant healing. For every emotional victory, a mind-numbing realization. I won at Daytona.
Won the last TCR race of last year, Road Atlanta, starting things off.
The checkered flag waved
right
for
style.
me.
It is victory for Tom O'Gorman and the LA Honda World Team.
While it may be a highlight, it is only the beginning.
Yeah, how could you not be smiling? I mean, if you'd have told me yesterday about this time that we'd be sitting here, I wouldn't have believed you. It's just the best day ever.
Here on the Florida coast, it's new drivers, new cars, and a new season, but a historic racetrack. They call this place the World Center of Racing. It's one of the places that any stock car driver has to win to complete their page in the history books. Even in the virtual world in iRacing, any season-starting trip to the 2.5-mile, 31-degree banked behemoth is one to remember when you end up in victory lane. It's the start of a new season on Monday Night Racing for the Area iRacing League. Welcome one and all to the Area 500 at Daytona International Speedway. Hi everybody, I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finney DeCuna and Hunter Sluffy. Finney, welcome aboard. Kicking off a new season at Daytona like we always do.
Yeah, it's always fun to kick off a season at Daytona, especially since we've seen these guys getting prepped over the last 2 weeks. We had the shootout race a little while back, then we had the duels last week to set the order for the 500 this week, and I'm sure these drivers cannot wait to get down on the track and actually get a race and get some points early on.
And Hunter, as we get into tonight's event, it's 100 laps around the 2.5 miles here at Daytona International Speedway, but we've got a lot of drivers. The field is packed 43 deep for tonight's race.
43 deep, got a lot of new faces and new places, a lot of new teams, a lot of excitement and anticipation building up for the Area 500. Brad Slaughter looking to defend his crown. It was actually an open car. Didn't know if there were going to be any open cars not making the show, but all the open cars made it. He won the duel. He's looking like my early favorite at possibly winning this race for the second time in a row.
And earlier, we caught up with Eric Wineland down on pit lane, who talked to our reigning champion, Jake Nichols. Eric?
All right, guys, I've caught up down here on pit road with the driver of the number 91 Toyota Camry, reigning champion Jake Nichols. Jake, you're the reigning champion, defending champion coming into this season, season 3 of Area. What is the emotions coming off the high of a championship?
Well, we're excited. Obviously, we swept virtually everything we could last season as a team with Solar Flare Racing and our Toyota Camrys, and we're looking for more of the same. We have a slightly different crew with Delonte Ballard coming in as our 4th this year, but honestly, I'm really excited, really hyped for this season. Hopefully we'll do as good as we did last year. I mean, last season was pretty tough to beat with 9 wins. I'm gonna have to be on my A game to try to match that, but especially with some new competition coming in, and more of the same with the previous guys. I mean, there's plenty of competition last season, guys that could really get the job done. So it's going to be exciting to try to keep on my toes and try to keep getting this 91 Toyota Camry in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned, looking forward to this season, Jake. 9 wins last year. You already mentioned that as well. What are the goals for not only yourself, but your team as you move into this 3rd season?
Well, obviously I'd like to top that. It's going to be hard, especially with this next gen car and how kind of even playing field it is compared to previous gens of NASCAR Cup cars. So I wish and hope that my luck can go my way a little bit so we can try to top 9. But either way, just getting a handful of wins and really setting the bar for the team standings early on, and especially starting with tonight, knowing that we got to get some good points tonight. It's Daytona, crashes are going to happen. So hopefully we can start off strong tonight and then lead just a successful season altogether as a group and as a solo, obviously, in the point standings there for the drivers.
Yeah, and zeroing in on tonight, Jake, you're sitting on pole for the 500, picking right up where you left off from last season. You finished 33rd last year in the 500. What's going to be different to your approach tonight compared to last year's 500?
Hopefully just not getting put 4 wide in the middle. We were in a really good spot last season. We were really hooked up with all of our teammates late, and we just got in one bad position, and it ended up ending our race. But hopefully we're a little smarter. I'm going to be probably a little aggressive early just to see what the racing's going to be like. After that, who knows? I might drop back, just ride it out for a while since it is a long race. But hopefully we can be there at the end and really start being aggressive and making moves and put some pressure on some of these guys, especially the new ones that haven't really raced with a lot of us. It'll be interesting to see what kind of pressure we can put on them and what they kick back at us. It should be a good show tonight for sure.
Alrighty, thank you, Jake. That is last year's champion, reigning defending champion here in the Area Cup Series, and also your pole sitter, Jake Nichols. Guys, Hunter, Kyle, Finian, back to you guys up in the booth.
Thanks, Eric. And yeah, reigning champion coming into the season. And Finian, one of the notable things about Jake Nichols was, yes, he's the reigning champion. Yes, he won a whole bunch of times last year. But noticeably on the stats list for this particular race, Jake doesn't appear. That's because there's so much variability. Every time you come to a plate race, you have no idea what's going to happen. And God knows you can't plan anything.
No, you really can. And if you do have a plan, you better have plan A, B, C, D, and use up pretty much the entire alphabet, because there's so many factors that can change in this race. And that's really the beauty of Daytona. It is very unpredictable. I wouldn't say it's completely random, because there are good plate races, and we've seen many times, especially on SimTV, we've seen many drivers be very good at plate racing, and they're usually up at the front. They're usually the guys winning the races. And the issue is trying to get yourself in a position on that final lap to the point where you can win that race, and that's really going to be really what separates the good drivers, the good plate drivers, and the bad ones.
Yeah, and one thing about putting yourself in the right position, and the 2 seasons that we've done the Area 500, Cameron Hearn led it on the white flag lap in both Area 500s and wound up being a last lap pass in both of those, and Hearn has yet to pick up a victory. Season 1 was won by Davey Hendricks, I mentioned last season. For Season 2, Brad Slaughter beat Cameron Hearn to the line. So Cameron Hearn looking to possibly get a win here tonight. 3rd time's the charm, but there is the 88 of Brad Slaughter already on a high. I mentioned won one of the duels earlier in the week last weekend, is going to be starting inside the 2nd row. Looking to build off that momentum and hopefully see it carry into Season 3 like we did Season 2, because he was only going to do Cup Series part-time, won the biggest event of the year, the Area 500, and decided, well, why not? Let's run the full season, and gave it a go at the postseason.
Well, drivers warming up right now for this 100-lap race, the Area 500. Here's Brandon Key, the number 95. Lots of names and faces that we've seen from around the iRacing oval racing scene, Finney. And this, of course, one of the biggest races of the season. It is a full field here, but names that we've seen from the past, from other racing leagues, all converging on Daytona on this October evening. It certainly feels a little bit odd to start a season this late in the calendar year, but as we know, typically sim racing seasons kind of run 2 for 1. So we're kind of starting our fall season here as drivers get prepped for the year.
Yeah, like you said, it is really difficult there as you see the pack going down the back straightaway. But yeah, it's start of the season, no matter what time of year it is. So these guys getting ready to get going and see them guys warming up, practicing the car loose and on the apron, somehow managing to save it. That's going to be the big thing too, is the savability of these guys, because obviously we're going to have a big pack of almost 40 cars going near the start. Do we expect to see a lot of cautions, or do you think we may see a lot of green flag action?
Honestly, it's kind of a iffy one, because season 1 the Area 500 went caution free, and that was under 20 laps. And last season we had 7 cautions in the season 2 race. So yeah, it could be either or. It could go caution free, or it could have a lot of cautions. And in the Twitch chat, we actually have a bet going up right now. The over-under on how many yellows will be in tonight's Area 500. The over-under is 5.5. So you can bet with exclamation point bet, and then the word over for basically over 5 cautions, or under for less than 5 cautions. And you can wager as many as 10 channel points up to 1,000.
Well, it's not a bet I'm willing to take necessarily, because if you saw last week the duels, wow, what a wild duels we had. They were crazy. We had late race passes. Big runs, though, Finian, was the thing that I took away. The runs, in the past with this plate racing package, it used to be pretty challenging to make moves. Not anymore. You get runs 10, 15, 20 miles an hour different between cars, and it will make a big mess if people aren't heads up about it.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, right? Is you got to make sure everyone's got their head on their shoulders. Fortunately, the racing we've seen between last season and even the duels here has been pretty good. Everyone seems to be knowing what they're doing, seems to be cautious of the other cars. We obviously have some wrecks here and there, but when you have these guys racing this close, this fast, you're bound to have some wrecks. So I'm kind of thinking we should be a little bit on the cleaner side of things for most of the day. I think the first 50 laps probably going to see maybe caution free. I think the last 50 laps, so we start to get some late race cautions, it can get very ugly real quick.
I think we might have the early caution around lap 4 or 5. Just there's over 40 drivers in the field, a lot of new faces, and kind of like what we saw with season 2, it's going to be difficult to get everyone settled in. There's going to be some guys that are willing to push the limit right off the bat, and it might not go the way they want it to go. But I'm just saying, don't be surprised if we get an early caution. I definitely won't be surprised, Kyle.
I don't think anybody's going to be surprised at yellow flags tonight. The challenge is just making it to the end of the race, but you can watch the whole race here in its entirety on the Area iRacing Twitch. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel for only $5 a month. You can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. And boy, Finian, I like free merchandise, but tonight nothing's coming free. You're going to have to fight your entire way forward. There's also the challenge of when do you fight? A 100-lap race isn't super short, but it isn't super long either. And if you're starting 30th or 40th, Finian, you've got some work to do.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I'm sure these guys are wishing this victory can come free, or at least a solid finishing position. But like you said, they're going to have to fight for the got their earn their way for it. And also got to mention too the fact that it is 100 laps, and that isn't really particularly long for some of these guys. But and especially considering the real life guys run 200 laps, but it's a lot of time, especially considering you can't really do a whole lot in those first 80, 90 laps. You're going to be pretty much working yourself to the front, or just try to make sure you don't get involved in anything. And Hunter, where do you think, from what you've seen, especially with the race last year with some of the wrecks happening, or last season, I should say, where do you think that the safest place to be, quote unquote, is it towards the front, middle, or the back?
Well, the middle is the place I would not want to be in. Doesn't matter if it's the middle of the pack, middle of the racetrack. If you're middle 3 wide, you're screwed. If you're middle of the pack, you're screwed. The wreck could happen anywhere. I would personally like to run in the back for the first half of the race or so. But like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to win the race on lap 3 or 30. You might win the race on lap 100 if we run the full distance, or 102 if we get a green white checkered. But going back from the previous 2 Area 500s, the winners of the Area 500 have averaged 2 laps led. So it doesn't matter if you have a dominant car. Davey Hendricks only led 1 lap, and that was the last lap. And Brad Slaughter led 3 laps when he won from Season 2. And looking back at the laps, Rafe Slate, he led the most laps among Super Speedway racing last season at 39 laps, with I believe 38 of those coming, 31 laps led in last year's Area 500, which was the most by any driver. And Cameron Herner, we already mentioned it. He led the white flag lap in both Area 500 events, but could not come home with a win. He's had the most laps led in this event, the Area 500, without a win at 36 laps. So looking for Cameron Herner to be up front, Rafe Slate as well. It's going to be interesting in the next 5 minutes when we get these cars gridded up, Kyle.
Certainly will be. I noticed that also some drivers trying out pit lane entry. That's certainly going to be a challenge as well. Let's pretend that we get a run long enough that we're going to need to pit under green. It's such an unlikely scenario. I don't know how many drivers were actually practicing for green flag pit stops, Finian, but it could be pretty crucial.
Oh, you're definitely going to want to get at least some sort of practice, and even if it's just, a few couple runs, even if it's by yourself, obviously you want to try to be in the pack. That would be the most ideal. But also the big thing when you're coming down a pit lane or trying to practice coming down is try going all the way to the inside of the apron or the outs of the apron, because we see a lot of times, especially you're coming down in a pack, everyone spreads out across the entire apron. You got all the tarmac, you might as well use it, and then approaching down into pit lane, we see that's where we actually see quite a few wrecks sometimes when you have all these cars coming out and just jumping on the brakes, trying and hoping they get slowed down for pit lane. And the last thing you want in this race is to get a pit road speeding penalty. That'll completely take you out of contention.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen it in real life happen before. Just recently, yesterday in the Cup race, Brad Keselowski was running up front, had a shot to win at Talladega, speeding penalty, screwed him out. I believe he finished a lap down, but you have to be perfect in virtually everything. You don't want to be in the big one, because that's bound to happen at some point.
It
don't want to speed on pit road. Don't want to get in any sort of incident. So you want to have as clean of a race as you possibly can up until the bell lap, I'd say. Then anything goes.
Yeah, anything goes, and avoiding that big one is certainly going to be the topic of contention. Let's step away for pre-race ceremonies. We'll be back with the start of the 2022 Area 500.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the presentation of the American National Anthem.
Back live for the Area 500 from Daytona International Speedway. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna and Hunter Slempe. Finian, about a minute and 35 seconds till we get ready to launch this race off from pit lane. One pace lap, but we turn them loose for 100 laps.
Yeah, and again, like we said earlier, drivers cannot wait. This is the time where you start to get a little bit nervous. Season's about to start. A lot of new faces in this league. They're trying to make a name for themselves. A lot of new drivers on new teams also trying to make a good impression for their new team owners. So a lot at stake for some of these guys. And, obviously one of these guys is going to be the one walking out with the win. And just like us, they have absolutely no clue who it's going to be.
Well, one driver who wants it to be is the 91 of Jake Nichols, the defending Cup Series champion. Won about, I'd say, half of the races, if not maybe a little less than that from season 2, or actually a little more. But one of the races that he didn't win was the Area 500, and I think that he wants to check that off his list amongst one of the top prestigious races in area. That and the Southern 500 are the two most prestigious events that we run, Kyle.
Certainly, as we get set for the starting lineup here tonight, again, 100 laps. This race is going to take a little while. It's not going to be one of the shorter ones on the season, but We talk about avoiding the big one. We talk about starting position not really mattering for plate races. Finney and I think for this race, with this deep of a field, I think I disagree.
Repeat the question one more time? Sorry, I was checking something else.
I was saying I think I disagree with qualifying not mattering for this race. With such a deep field, I think there's going to be a challenge to get through the field without getting yourself caught up in an incident.
I definitely think so, especially early on, like Hunter's mentioning, you have the chance of that early caution occurring. If you're caught in the middle or the back of the field, you might be caught in that wreck. I think for some of these guys, qualifying, especially if you're trying to race near the front, you're going to want to qualify near the front. Obviously, qualifying's already been done with the duels, so you're pretty much stuck with whatever cards you've been dealt with. Now it's just a matter of making the most out of it.
Now, Finney, stick with me because we're going to get ready for our Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Use discount code AREAIRACING for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. Now heading down to the starting grid and rolling through our starting lineup, we'll go row by row, kicking things off with row number 1. Starting on the pole position is Jake Nichols in his number 91 Toyota alongside Cosmin Ionoshu in the number 84. He rolls off in second, Finian.
Yeah, those are the guys that qualified top 2 in qualifying last week. Then we have our dual winners in row number 2. Brad Slaughter Jr. taking the win in, I believe it was duel 1. Then Travis Beckner taking home the win in duel number 2. Keep an eye on both these guys because they both did a fantastic job in their races.
Starting in row 3, Garrett Grant in the number 5. He'll start alongside Ryan Swan in the number 19. Those drivers are 5th and 6th.
Back in 7th, Dom DeLeo is going to be lined up on the inside lane next to Matthew Bell in 8th place in row 4.
In row number 5, starting 9th is Chris Seidenfeld in the number 45, and Shane Abbey rolls off in 10th in the number 12 car.
Alan Balashino is going to be rolling off in 11th place, and next to him in row 6 is going to be Alex Weaver.
13th place, row 7, Gabriel Ellison in the number 27, and Delonta Ballard starts 14th in the number 21.
Tom Bourne's going to be starting the inside of row number 8, and next to him is James Scioli in the number 7 car.
Starting 17th, Seth Noel in the number 1, and Bronson Stafford in the number 61 starts in 18th.
Back in 19th, it's going to be Jacob Bell in the 77, next to him Ryan Hart in the 3 and 20th.
21st place, Brandon Zimmerman in the number 20, Greg Mitchell rolls off 22nd in the number 2.
Back in 23rd, Dwayne Culberson's going to be rolling off the inside in the 81, Jordan D. Martin in the 11 car in 24th.
25th, Tyler Nichols in the number 41. Rafe Slate rolls off 26th in the number 8.
Back at 27th, Jeff Ryan will be lined up at the inside lane. Danny right next to him in the 00 in 28th.
29th, Brandon Key, the number 95. Ed Robertson starts 30th in the number 64.
Back in 31st, Brian Tanizak in the 09. Next to him, Ricky Springer in the 18 car in 32nd.
33rd place, Douglas Newbigging starts in 33rd in the number 71. Kyle Sieg starts 34th in the number 39 car.
We find Andrew Player in the 35th position. Next to him, David Weishart in 36th.
Starting 37th, Mark Patterson in the number 51 alongside Jonathan Cogswell in the number 26th in 38th.
JT Poole going to be lined up in 39th with Connor Kreska next to him in 40th, rounding out row 20.
Row 21, rounding out the rest of the field, 41st place. Michael Sturgill in the number 17. Here's your last starter for this 100-lap race here for the Area 500. Kyle Heyer joined by Hunter Sleppy and Finian DeCuna. It is time to go racing, time to kick off a new season. On Monday nights, the Area Cup Series is green, and we are racing at the World Center of Racing, Daytona. We're racing. Into turn 3 for the first lap of many, 100 tonight on the timing and scoring as we roll through turns 3 and 4. Jake Nichols drops to the bottom in front of Slaughter and heads to the start-finish line to lead lap 1, Finian.
Yeah, and everyone getting single file very early on. I guess, like we mentioned, it's an endurance race. It's not really a sprint, so everyone just immediately trying to wait it out. A few guys stuck on the high side. I'm curious if we're going to see anyone take advantage of that and try to move up early on.
Oh, that car in the 4th position. Dom DeLeo peeked outside to get some air, but Most of the field going single file towards the front. Got some side-by-side action towards the back, but so far so clean for the 91 and Nichols.
I think this is kind of the goal here early, is get single filed out, just tick off some laps. But again, this isn't a full 500-mile race. This is relatively short as far as 500-lap race or 500-mile races go. So yeah, you're gonna see a little bit of shuffling here early. The 19 car of Ryan Swan drops into the clutches of Bronson Stafford here, Finney in the outside lane, going nowhere, trouble. The 2 car, Mitchell gets turned, gets into the 8. They're going to crash big time on the front straightaway.
And it looks like caution still not out, actually. It looks like he collected one other car, but we remain green for the moment. There it is.
There's the caution. And it's the 8 car, Rafe Slate, grinding to a halt there on the apron. And Hunter, he has led laps here in the past, but looks like he will not do that tonight.
No, it doesn't look like it. That's a lot of damage to the number 8 car of Rafe Slate. We take a look at the replay here. Had some contact with the car to the outside. I believe that was the number 2.
Yeah.
And that just kind of unfolded there in the triangle.
Yeah, let's take another look at it in slow motion here. So watch the 2 car. He's going to come down the racetrack here and initially start this right here. He's see the 00 on the bottom? That spooks the 8. Rafe comes up, maybe gets into the 2, then comes back across into the 00, the Simrat Market car on the Simrat Market replay, comes back up the racetrack. The 64 clobbers him, and then behind him, I think that's the 95 of Brandon Key also involved. The 37 of Jeff Ryan tags the 8 car again, and then back across the racetrack and hard into that inside wall.
Yeah, that car's absolutely done. You can see on the left and the right side, major damage to the number 6. It is so unfortunate so early on to be caught in there. I'm curious how the other drivers that were involved. There's some guys who got a little bit of damage, some guys who got a lot. You see the 37 getting a huge huge lick out of that. And also the green car up on the top also.
I believe that is Ed Robertson, the green number 64, and that might have gotten involved in this one.
Yep, it's Robertson. Bam, there he is.
Oh, yeah, that's a decent helping of nose damage, especially to the engine. That's where we've got to be really worried about.
Yeah, see that fender flapping on the number 8 of Rafe Slate. As you come out of the Simrat Market replay, you see that car torn up on pit lane. The other car, and one of the other cars involved, the 37 of Jeff Ryan. He might have actually gotten away with just a little bit of right front damage. And then, of course, the 95 of Brandon Key got a big piece of it. He's got some damage. And then the 64 is really the car that I've circled on my radar here, is the one that would have a lot. And yeah, that nose is punched in. But Finian, I'm not really sure, actually, with this next-gen car, with this new damage model, how much is this going to impact these cars' performances?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because obviously we have the tapered spacer, we don't have the restrictor plates, so I'm curious to see how much that's going to affect. And you also got to not worry just about the engine power side of things, also the aerodynamic side of things, because that's where the air is hitting first, the nose of the car. So it'll be interesting to see, how that 64 car is going to perform. I think in the draft, I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue, but once that car gets some clean air by itself, that's where it gets really tricky and really tough.
Well, looks like we got an update from Eric Weiland, who's come up in the booth. Eric, what you got for us?
Just an update from Physicus Motorsports there. The driver, the number 8, Rafe Slate, he is sitting on pit road with quite a bit of required repair. I don't expect to see that car anytime soon. Most of these guys coming down pit road, though, no jack stands going up. It's all fuel only for all these cars coming down.
That's a little bit surprising, actually. I think really, Finian, the goal of pitting right now is just to set yourself up for later. Get yourself in a window, perhaps. I don't really see much reason. Obviously, you wouldn't take tires, but just to top off of fuel maybe to hit a better number.
Yeah, it also just gives you more playability with the strategy, because if you can go longer on fuel, you have more chances that you're able to pit, because last thing you want to do is being forced to pit early and by yourself. But I guess everyone just coming in down to just top off on fuel just might as well, because you're going to need a whole lot of gas for the rest of this race anyway.
Well, it didn't take too long. It did say there would be a possibility of an early caution within the first handful of laps or so, and, well, it looks like it happened on lap 2, and just want to give a reminder to everyone in the chat. We do have a donation box up for the American Red Cross. We have a goal of $100 for donations, and all the funds will be going towards those affected by Hurricane Ian. So make sure you guys put that down there in the top of the chat, the donation box there for the American Red Cross.
As we had our first yellow flag with the Simrat Market replay. Fans, be sure to check out simratmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. Nobody wants an ugly race car. You can have a really pretty one with Simrat Market as the cars double up and get set for a restart here. Lots of good liveries all throughout the field here, Finian. It is a shiny, good-looking field with makes represented across the board here. Ford, Chevrolet, and Toyota all represented fairly evenly.
Yeah, fairly evenly inside the top 20. You can see there are quite a few Fords, and actually I was trying to see if there was some lacking, but yeah, no, pretty decent spread throughout the top 20 and even throughout the rest of the field. And then, as you mentioned, the paint schemes, man, these guys are always got their paint scheme game on point. Fantastic looking field. Unfortunately, you see some guys with quite a bit of damage. Talk about Racely being out, and then a few guys still with damage, and they're going to be pretty much fixing those cars the rest of the race.
I don't know if Rafe's going to be out 100%. Obviously not race winning contention anymore, but it's race 1 of a 17 race season, and they've only got 12 regular season races, so don't want to be in a pickle early, so you got to get as much points as you can.
Not a lot of mulligans with a 12 race regular season. You really got to be on top of everything all year long. And remember that championships come down to just single points in many of the series. It didn't necessarily go that way this year. But of course, that winner-take-all championship certainly makes things interesting. Jake Nichols, though, starting off 2022's fall season where he finished the spring season in front. They come back to the start-finish line for the Area 500. Lap 7, green flag back in the air.
Get another report from the pit lane down. Eric Weiland. Some audio issues here for Brad Slaughter. He's only got the sim volume, but nothing else other than the sim volume. So it's going to be an awkward night. I can't speak. It's going to be an awkward night for Slaughter to hear.
Yeah, it's never fun. You kind of come into a race expecting everything to work well, and whether it's a hardware issue, a software issue, sound is extremely important. Vinny, and I know you and I have both tried driving without sound, and maybe not intentionally, but it is distracting, if anything.
No, it really is. I actually during this year's Daytona 24, I think there was one stint I was driving in VR, and then I got a Windows notification popping up, and it for some reason disabled all my sounds. So I couldn't hear the car's engine, I couldn't hear other cars, and just had to go off pure muscle memory, because you really don't understand how crucial audio is to driving until you don't have it, and you just realize, you feel like you're just learning how to drive. It's kind of crazy, that scenario. It does seem, though, at least he's got some sound back, so some sound is definitely better than nothing.
And I know we didn't make our pre-race picks or drivers to watch for. I already mentioned earlier on, Slaughter, the defending Area 500 champion, looking to go back-to-back, but I have my eye not on the 11 Jordan Martin, although he did win the most recent Super Speedway race in area back at Talladega. I got my eye on the 09 of Bryce Senesac. I don't know why, but for some reason I just feel like he's going to be in the right position at the right time later on in tonight's race.
There's Bryce in the number 09, the butt kicker car. To the outside goes the 45 of Seidenfeiten, just completely side drafting all on his own, using that draft to launch himself forward. That's a more powerful effect than we've seen in the past couple of years, Finney, and that side draft getting kind of a boost the last couple of years, and drivers have begun to use that pretty successfully along with the traditional nose-to-tail draft that we're seeing now.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely an absolute skill you need to master, is how to do the side draft effectively, because there's a way to do it effectively and a way to not do it effectively, and that's again really what separates some of the good from the bad, mediocre plate drivers. As he's trying to work his way up, he's now got a couple guys in behind him that can assist him with a little bit of a push as he's trying to work his way up.
One car making the aggressive move up the track is Seth Noel in the number 1. New driver to area and new driver for the new team, Miller Racing. Got Garrett Grant, Travis Becker, and Andrew Player as teammates, along with the one of Seth Noel, who is now leading that outside line.
Into turn 3 with a big push from Seidenfeiten, who's been very aggressive here on this upper groove, trying to make the outside lane work. And we saw in the duels last week that there didn't seem like there was a strong line preference. You could make speed on the top or the bottom, depending on how organized your line was. And while all this looks disorganized to someone who isn't familiar with plate racing, they're starting to get more and more takers up there. But look how stable the 91 and 22 are. Dom DeLeo, and that he was a little bit of a wild card there in the duels last week, Finney, but right now he's P2.
Yeah, he's really doing a solid job getting in behind the 91 and really aggressively up against the back of him. I'm curious again, with him just kind of sitting in behind, I haven't really seen the true muscle of the 22. See if he's got something down his sleeve, especially later in the race, if he can try to make some moves to get himself near the front.
And speaking of getting to the front, that outside lane slowly trickling towards the front. Got a big bump. Noel did from the 45 at Seinfeld, looking to get another massive run here off of the turn. And over there in third place, you see Gabriel Ellison, a new driver from another new team here in the Area Cup Series, Lucky Duck Motorsports. So far, he is in the Lucky Duck position as the Leo looked like he wanted to go top, but decided to stay back in line. But Ellison running in third as the Lucky Duck from Lucky Duck Motorsports.
Good start for the number 27. He's got the 5 of Garrett Grant behind him, the 22 and 91, all playoff competitors from last season, so he's in good company. But Hunter, as you noted, that 22 may be getting a little antsy behind the 91 Finian as they head to turn 3. Finian, you wanted to see Dom get a little bit more aggressive and show his muscle. Well, he is all over the back of the 91. Maybe he just needs a little bit more disorganization behind him to justify jumping out of groove.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm curious to see when that second lane comes up. You see Noel still working his way forward, but I think once he gets there, you see, will he decide, the 22, will he decide to step out of line and take over the lead, or if he's just kind of happy sitting in behind the 91? Again, it's only lap 12 of 100.
Look at the field rocket off into turn 1, and I think the Leo just wants the inside lane to get as far away from the outside lane as possible. Just to make things a little more easier for those running up front so that they don't have to worry about any side-by-side shenanigans going on. And there is Andrew Player over there in the 13, running in the 24th spot. Another teammate to the leader of the outside, Seth Noel from Miller Racing. And he's kind of chilling in this pack that I would personally be okay with running in, as we've got some sort of lag going on there with the 39 of Sieg. But that pack right there, probably the safest place to be on the racetrack.
Look a little bit wild right now, but they'll get it sorted back out as that lead pack continues to keep the pressure facing forward as we hit lap 14 of 100. If this race goes green from start to finish, that is 1 hour and 7 minutes of racing remaining, and certainly we've got a lot of action left to do. There's just no pressure right now on anybody, Finian. They're just clicking off laps, but at some point you're going to want to start moving your way forward. I think this is too early to really feel that pressure, but late in this race, if we still have this many cars, it's going to be absolutely chaotic.
Oh, it absolutely is, and you can bet that a lot of guys are going to be switching between lanes. You can see a third lane open up, but for now, again, it's the calm before the storm. When that storm arrives, probably going to be around lap 80, lap 90, around there. You can already see that second pack. There's a pretty sizable second pack in behind. I haven't really talked about them because they're just kind of riding around, and even a third pack in behind them are just 2 cars.
Yeah, I take that back. That third pack with like 2 cars is probably the safest spot to be in. This is still kind of a pack to worry about because, like we saw in the first caution, the first semblance of side-by-side action we had was where the wreck happened. They were going 3 wide, but it seems like everyone has the same message going side by side in both packs. And yeah, that little pack right there just getting in the backstretch. Safest place to be on the track.
Yeah, and Mark Patterson is one of them. Brandon Key is the other. Now, as long as you can not get lapped, you'll be in pretty good shape. I worry about this 95 just because of the damage he's got to the front of that car. I'm not sure how aerodynamic it will be, but up front it is getting very racy. They continue to struggle for position behind Seidenfeld, and he goes to the outside, kind of sucker hold up against the safer barrier. Here comes the 26 up the middle. That's Cogswell. He's going to jump to the outer groove behind Ed Robertson, who seems like that damage has been repaired and suffers no ill effects.
Yeah, I'm pretty curious. I'm curious as to what happened with Seidenfeld. If he was just trying to work his way to the back, or if he was trying to just kind of, maybe go up there and make something happen.
Eric Weiland from the pit lane. What you got for us, Eric?
Yeah, I got a radio here from Fazekas Motorsports, specifically car 70, Alan Ballantino.
Not really going, but it's starting to gain numbers. Okay.
That was just about a couple laps ago as he made comments about the outside lane starting to gain a couple numbers here. One more update for the 8-car race slate involved in that first incident. Out for the night, too much damage to repair. We'll be racing tomorrow night in the Truck Series race.
That is an absolute bummer, but that's kind of what we figured. That hit he took was pretty significant. Finney didn't seem like he was going to bounce back from that one.
No, it'll be a really hard one to try to bounce back for. Well, best of luck to him in the other series, and then also next week here in the Cup Series.
Yep, next week the guys will be going to Chicagoland. Very interesting racetrack, first mile and a half of the season. But right now, lap 17 of 100 here from Daytona International Speedway for the Area 500. Being led by Jake Nichols, who has some lap traffic coming up at the 37 of Jeffrey Ryan. I don't believe that will be an issue, but it is lap traffic at Daytona that they are slowly approaching.
Yeah, this is always a nerve-wracking moment as a race leader because you've got, well, and Jeff is also blinking too, which makes matters worse. But if you've got a group of cars that are 2 and maybe 3 wide, this is a very nerve-wracking moment, especially for the one, Seth Noel, who's in that upper groove. He knows he's going to have to put that 37 car to his outside. He's got pressure from behind. The drivers behind him can't see as well as he can. So this is when it gets very, very tense as they head down the back straightaway and intercept that lap traffic. On lap 18, not so bad, Finian. Lap 98, that's going to be very, very nerve-wracking.
Oh, absolutely. Because at that point, I think the lap crew is going to have to go down on the apron because these guys are going to be fighting for position. They're not going to be willing to yield to a lap car, and that's really where you can see potentially see a wreck happening with these guys. Class 5 camera heading on to the start-finish straight. That backpack, they look like the second pack. It looks like they're losing time, although they are starting at single file now.
I was say you had it right the first time. The backpack, that's what I would have called it. Yeah, they're starting to get. I think they all are single file now. There was one car that was side by side, but it's being led by Ryan Swan, and he knows a thing or two about winning on the Super Speedway. Maybe not in the Cup Series, but last season in the Lodge Box Series in the Dale Earnhardt throwback scheme, he won the Lodge Box Series event at Talladega, fitting track to do that at in a wild finish. And he also knows a thing or two about winning in the Truck Series. Just hasn't quite figured it out yet for the Cup Series or the next-gen car. But I would look out for Ryan Swan in his new ride with Sky Motorsports.
Have a look at the lap time. Last time was a 47.2, 46.4, so 0.8 quicker for the lead pack right now. So, Finian, your assumption was correct. They are losing time despite the side-by-side racing we're seeing up in this front pack.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if now that they're pretty much single file, if they're going to plan on trying to make a charge for it, or maybe this is all by plan, all by design, that they're going to just kind of sit back that far and then just in case, give them some breathing room in case there's a wreck or incident up in the front pack.
Yeah, they're starting to get more comfortable now on that outside lane as you see the sparks and debris fly. It's Seth Noel still in the outside lane with Cosmin Yonishibu in the 84 on the outside of that. He started on the outside front row, but has slowly migrated towards the bottom part of the top 10 here in the number 84 Samrat market car. By the way, such a nice paint scheme the 84 is.
Yeah, it really does stand out. Got that. It kind of reminds me of those X-Side cars that Jeff Burton used to run back in the early 2000s, late 1990s. But Cosmin right now runs in the 8th spot, as you noted, Hunter, as they head down the back straightaway. Now working lap number 21. 1/5 of the race is complete. 1 caution so far. Just a quick look at the Area 500 race recap. 80 laps to go. 1 caution for 3 laps. And only 1 leader, Finian. It's still that number 91. He has just been extremely strong. But I think that there's a lot of planning and a lot left to happen to this 91. We'll see how defensive he can get. All he's done so far is stick to that yellow line.
Yeah, he's been really hugging it and hasn't had any real challengers up in the front. We've seen that Tom Lane approach quite a bit, but they've never been able to get near the front or make a move. And again, I don't think they're really trying at this point in time. See the number 28 of Travis Beckner out there, winner of duel number 2. Did a great job just sneaking that win out at the line at the last possible second. And now actually getting a pretty comfortable run in behind. You can see the push from the 1 throwing him up the order.
Yep, those are teammates Seth Noel and Travis Beckner, part of Miller Racing. Now, Seth, I almost said Seth Beckner. Travis Beckner, we know as a road course ringer, but to us in the booth, he shocked us last week with his dramatic photo finish victory in duel number 2. So maybe Travis knows a thing or two about these super speedway races, and currently he's being pushed by his teammate once again, Seth Noel in the 1, trying to get some spark going on that outside lane, and currently making a little bit of progress.
Yeah, so much of these plate races, or not really plate races anymore, but so much of these super speedway races are about confidence in placing your race car on the racetrack. Now, if you're not confident, if you hesitate, you're going to get yourself in big trouble. So sometimes you just have to make big, bold moves and kind of make it work. Now, Beckner jumped up in front of his teammate Seth Noel, but I also noticed a couple laps ago that Travis was really sideways on the bottom, so I wonder if he's moved up the racetrack for comfort, if anything, because that bottom lane, when you're trying to, keep to the inside, tucked under people, you hit that apron, your car does all sorts of funny things in the air. You see it there again, kind of snap on exit, Finian. Looks like that car is not quite handling to Beckner's liking.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit of concern as these laps tick up, because the handling's only going to get worse. You don't particularly talk about tire wear a whole lot here at Daytona, but it definitely is an issue if you're starting to feel the handling get away from you, and especially getting a guy pushing you in behind aggressively, pushing at the wrong place, wrong time. That's a recipe for a wreck.
especially with these next-gen cars, and we kind of alluded to it earlier in the day with Dom DeLeo. He had an incident in one of the duels because of how rounded these front and back bumpers are in the next-gen car. One bad bump, and it could create the big one. And speaking of big one, we got Eric Weiland back from pit road. What you got for us, Eric?
Listen in to Solar Flare Racing talking fuel strategy already.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about fuel. If we have to just pit together a few laps before everyone, then so be it.
Yeah, whenever whatever you gotta do, we'll just all do it either way.
So Jake Nichols leading the pack right now, guys. He is playing the long game here, thinking about his fuel number already, as we're only 25 laps into the race.
Saw that early on with those early pit stops that everybody took to put a little fuel in the car. But, notably, the drivers in the top 7 did not come to pit lane. The only other exception to that, Seidenfeiden, Zimmer, and Tyler Nichols, they also did not pit. Everybody else came on down for a splash finish, so already differentiating their strategy. It was only by a couple of laps, but that could matter later in this race.
No, it definitely can, especially if Nichols was concerned about it. I think they have some numbers they felt they were going to hit. Again, obviously, that's assuming the race is going to go entirely green, which we have our suspicions about. But I'm curious to see when we're going to see Nichols come down, because you could bet that he's got probably some of the worst fuel mileage out of everyone running because he's been leading the pack.
Could be a big reason why the 22 of DeLeo is just trying to push the 91 as far out as possible, making use more fuel, which is it's currently working at the moment, but coming up on green flag pit stops, I would say in the next 10 to 15 laps or so.
So I want to touch on the fuel bit thing here a little bit. One thing I noticed coming to this next-gen car and this tapered spacer method of reducing horsepower is a lot higher fuel consumption than the previous generation car. For whatever reason, the car naturally being choked down this way versus the way that it was prior, it seems like the cars burn a lot more fuel, especially when they're out of the draft. Combine that with the aero properties of this newer car being a little bit wider as well. That front area can be a little wider, so that's the challenge now is if you haven't plate raced this car a lot, you don't really know what the fuel economy is, so you better have your widgets ready to go to be calculating that, or have teammates that have them so you know when you're coming down. And then you have to coordinate with everybody to make sure you don't come down by yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be the big thing is coordinating when everyone's going to come down. That's what we're talking about. So you better also practice getting yourself down on pit lane, because the last thing you need, especially for yourself and for your teammates, is getting a pit road speeding penalty and then getting thrown out of the loop, out of the cycle, and eventually going a lap down.
Yeah, we saw that earlier in our practice session. Again, no qualifying because the starting order was already determined by the duels last week. So some of the drivers took the time to practice getting on the pit road just in case we do get a green flag stop, in which you're going to have at least 10 other cars coming with you down pit road. So you want to make sure you get down to pit speed and not run into them.
Looks like that second pack has picked up the pace a little bit. They're still a couple of tenths a second off, but they've stopped the bleeding a touch. About mid-46s for them versus low 46s for the race-leading group at the moment. So that's a little bit of an improvement, Finian, but certainly it's going to take a yellow flag to make up all this time. They just don't look as organized in their single-file line. What I'm surprised about is that they're not making up time regardless, because this front pack is still side-by-side from about 5th place on.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that they haven't tried to make some time up. Obviously you want to give yourself some breathing room in case there's a wreck, but there's also a chance of giving yourself up too much room. And especially, again, if the race does go green, you're going to have to make that time up at some point.
Wow, the 95 got hammered. They're going to crash right in the middle of the field. And a huge crash on the back straightaway.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe what I've just seen.
Oh,
this
man.
is absolute insanity. We saw this happen last season in Season 2 for Lodgebox Series, where a lap car wrecked the field going into turn 3, and we just saw that happen again, and this time in the Cup Series in the biggest race of the season. This is not good at all.
Well, that came out of absolutely nowhere, because they hit each other once, and then they saved it, and they looked like they're fine, and then they hit each other again.
Yeah, the 51 and the 95, then back across the racetrack right into Dwayne Culberson in the 81, and what a mess this made. Look at 95, really the center of it all. He got hit from the 51 of Mark Patterson, and it just spilled. You can't even get a camera on it. There's so much chaos everywhere here. Here's their look again as they come out of turn number 2. The 95 and the 51 drop onto the apron to get out of the way. The 95 drops more. The 51 comes over. They get back together, and then bam. Solar Flare Racing taking a couple different casualties there.
I don't know if we could take an onboard on it, but it looked like the 95 was slowing down to get out of the way. It just seemed like he slowed down just abruptly.
Yep. Oh, man.
Yeah, huge hip check.
That's a tough break there for the field. That's some good cars that were right in the middle of that pack up front. And man, some of those guys, their nights are done, and I don't think they'd be happy at all. I know I wouldn't be.
Look again.
I can only imagine how the chat was after that happened. As you mentioned, under I think a lot of very angry drivers, because that came out of absolutely nowhere, and there was nothing they could do.
Let's ride on board with the 64 car. He has got, if I can find him in the timing and scoring to pick him up, he was kind of in the center of all that. Really had nowhere to go. There he is. He's run all the way up in 16th right now. But this is what Ed Robertson saw out the cockpit.
And that's Jacob Bell in the 77. Getting caught up in that as well. Saw Culberson go around. Cosmin Yoneshiwu going off to the inside wall.
And then also the 21 car. He got completely blindsided by all this. Everyone's shuffling in pit lane right now, so it's getting hard to grab the car I'm looking for. But the 21 of Delonta Ballard here is his on board.
Oh. Boy, look at that's the one of Seth Noel right there that just snuck by in front of the 21.
Up from high above.
And watch the bright green car. Bryce Senesac in the 09. Oh, you got a little bit of it, but
yeah, she might have missed most of it. Find the 09 again. Got tagged in the rear right. Dodged the 21 and a couple others, but just mayhem on the back straightaway. Bring out our second caution of the day.
Yeah, well, Eric Weiland's going to be running a marathon up and down pit road, getting all the comments from the teams and drivers. Oh man, this is just a disaster. Like I said, we had this happen last year in season 2 at Daytona for the Lodge Box Series. Had a lap car that the main pack was catching going into turn 3. Went low on the apron, was carrying too much speed, wound right back up the track in the 3rd or 4th place and created a big one, took out a number of drivers there. And it's like deja vu all over again with this.
Well, I think the driver we just saw hit pit lane was attempting, that was Ballacino, trying to lead a lap, but he didn't do that as Jake Nichols drove up to the back of the pace car and retook the lead before Ballacino could do that. All right, everyone has come to pit lane. They have all put 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel in. They're getting racked up and stacked up to go again, but it's going to be, look at how amended the field is. There are still a bunch of cars on pit lane getting service. Eric Weiland's got some more updates on the wreck. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey guys, I just happened to be with Solar Flare Racing right there when the wreck happened. Take a load of this.
God, I mean, seriously though, like what the hell?
Are those guys drunk? They just gotta know that you should just hold your line. You shouldn't worry about.
Well, they went below the line and they hurt each other.
Yeah,
stupid, man.
Jake Nichols and company not happy with the lappers there as far as pit stops right there. 4 tires of fuel for just about everybody. Damage fixed for the guys that were just involved in the wreck, obviously. One unique call here, the 1 car, Seth Noel. Only 2 tires. He had a 12.5-second stop in his pit box. And also the 70, Valent Balancino, missed his pit box first time down pit road. He pitted again. He'll restart from 24th.
That answers that question. Thanks so much, Eric, as we get prepped for this restart, lap number 33. Basically the 1/3 mark of this race. Well, looks like we're going to get a bunch of people back in this mix, but Culberson, Senesac, Key, Patterson, Cosman, Jeff Ryan is back rolling. At least Delonta Ballard is still in pit lane, so about a half dozen cars out or damaged at this point. As we come back to the green flag, we're racing again from Daytona. '91 leads the way, and Finney, going back to what your comment was about getting out of the mix. The 91 missed that because he was leading the race, but now no longer as the 28 drops to the bottom of the racetrack through turn 1.
Oh, yeah, and DeLeo looked like he was thinking about going down low, and Beckner caught him sleeping, and now Beckner's going to take that inside lane. Seems to be the more preferred lane at the moment, but now we're going to see some guys change. DeLeo going to slide out in front of Beckner.
I'll say we already have one big wreck. We don't need another one just yet. Let's have everybody calm down here. DeLeo gonna lead the way for the moment. Beckner in second, then it's Ellison being led, or leading the outside line, with Jordan Martin to be pushing from behind.
Onto the front straightaway this time, DeLeo has the lead for the moment. Gabriel Ellison, though, he's going to probably try to grab it before the start-finish line. He will not. In behind him, Jordan Martin in that number 11. That's the blue and black car with the yellow numbers, but DeLeo gets a big shove from Beckner, who's been very aggressive with the bumpers today, but it's working out for him. Still two and three wide. David Weishart in the 33 Matco Tools car. This is the first we've talked about him today. Started back in 36th all the way up to 9th right now, Finian.
Yeah, absolutely doing a fantastic job up on the top side. You can see they're going down below the 27, who's drifting on backwards.
I'll say it's lap 34. There's not 3 to 4 laps left remaining. These guys are getting a little more comfortable with the aggressive moves that we're seeing being made. Now Jake Nichols up front, leading that outside lane. He's going to lead a lap at the line as the bottom lane trying to get stacked up and be formed evenly going into turn 1.
I think the 27 there, that was new guy syndrome. Doesn't have any friends out there on the racetrack and just kind of got shuffled up to the outside lane. See ya, he's gone. He's all the way back now, fallen to 15th place in just a couple of corners. The 91 with a big shove from Jordan Martin retakes the lead. Does Martin drop to the bottom? He will not. Now Jake Nichols is going to drag him with him, as well as Greg Mitchell. They're going to drop in front of DeLeo, and now the new leader of the outside lane, Finian, is David Weishart.
Yeah, David Weishart haven't really seen a whole lot out of the 33 machine. We'll see what he can do with Hart's in behind him on that outside lane. It's kind of nice seeing some new names and faces now. The order's been shuffled up after that last incident, so some new guys trying to make some charges, make something happen here.
Yeah, speaking of new guys, new to the Cup Series, Greg Mitchell in the 2. He was involved in that early caution around lap 2 to 3. Getting helped in line here from the 22 DeLeo is an affiliation. He's an open car here for the Cup Series, but an affiliation with Ziegfeld Motorsports and is a part of the Xfinity program. So the 22 helping out a fellow teammate as well. And like you mentioned on the outside, Weishart leading the way with Ryan Hart from behind. Ryan Hart is the defending Truck Series champion, and he knows a thing or two about winning just about in anything here in Area iRacing. Go all the way back to the Xbox days with Ryan Hart. He dominated in everything, won in everything. Now he's looking to take his talents to the Cup Series level, possibly winning the biggest race of the season.
For whatever reason, Ryan Hartz doesn't exist to the graphics today. I don't know what, I've never seen that happen before, but Ryan Hartz right now runs in 5th place in that number 3. He's so quick.
You can't see him, yeah.
Graphics can't even catch him. The Weishart has the 3 and the 5 behind him. 5 is Garrett Grant. Then it's the 32 car of JT Poole, who is very quick in practice. We just haven't seen him up front here in the race. But double wide down the backstretch here, Finney. I wonder how many drivers said, you know what, screw it. We had that big wreck. Let's just go for it now.
Yeah, I think that's what we're probably seeing here, especially because some of them were given a big jump in position because so many guys were off spinning and slow down to the apron. So we're seeing a lot of guys that gain position. They figured out, as mentioned, just now it's the best chance to go. Might as well go for it. So we're seeing the top lane really start to come into its own with some really solid momentum, and even taking the lead for just a second here as Weishart's going to lead lap.
Watch this replay here, Hunter, as Alex Weaver comes off at turn 4. Watch this.
Oh, it's a little too close to the wall and a little loose there. At least to my liking. I don't know how the 4 likes it, but if you like it like that, then hey, have at it. But got the 4 car running on that outside line. As speaking of the outside line, Weishart getting the big push from Hartz in the 3, leading for the moment. But Jake Nichols and Jordan Martin have something to say on that bottom.
Giving a big shove into turn 3, but the 33 is going to drop to the bottom of the racetrack ahead of Jake Nichols. We haven't seen Jake boxed in like this yet this race. We'll see how aggressive he is to get out of this position. Here comes the 3, though, of Ryan Hartz to the outside with a push from Garrett Grant, the 32 of Poole in behind, and momentum is building up there and continues to kind of shuffle that line forward. A little bit of miscoordination back there. The 26, 1, and 28 all side by side, 3 abreast.
Yeah, they go 2x2 up in the front. Ooh, Nichols almost, he was kind of peeling off in the middle of the corner there. Almost looked like for a second he was going to go middle 3 wide, and with the kind of the anti stepping up here, do you think we're going to see some 3 wide action? Or a little bit too early for that?
Might be a little too early. I mean, we saw it once there. I wouldn't surprise me if we start to see more people try and venture out to 3 wide racing, but you're definitely going to see some more of it at the very end. And the 33 Weishart continuing to lead with Hartz and Grant on the outside trying to get a momentum push off forward.
Another big wiggle from the 18 of Ricky Springer, and Beckner behind him, kind of wagging that tail as they come off of turn 4. We saw them in the bottom of the racetrack out of turn 2, and now the top in turn 4. It seems like this setup is a little bit looser once you get a couple laps into a run and you kind of let the car trail up. I think a lot of this, Finian, might be push understeer rather, where you're kind of coming up off the corner a little bit wide. You got a lot of wheel in it so that when you come off the corner, it wants to snap around on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, you're starting to see now Hart, too. A little bit of a shove. Oh, hello. Nichols looking to the inside for just a second. Can't quite get there. Now Hart with the move up on top. With Brent trying to push him on the bottom. Now Nichols coming back on the bottom.
Season 1 and Season 2 Cup Series champions leading that bottom line with Jordan Martin. Hopefully wanting to crown himself as Season 3 champ, but maybe just Area 500 champ, because again, biggest race of the season. You want to have your name out there. Your name gets remembered forever if you win the Area 500. Davey Hendricks and Brad Slaughter, both winners of the Area 500, with company in this pack looking to claim themselves as the third ever Area 500 champion.
10 laps to halfway here, lap 41 of 100. Look at the run on the outside this time from Hartz and Grant. And now the 32 of JT Poole is up inside the top 5. The 33 and the 91. Oh, look at the 5 to the bottom of the racetrack here, Fenian. Big move there from the Garrett Grant.
Yeah, absolutely. Just absolutely left the 3 out there to dry, saw the opportunity, and took it. And now he's going to let the 3 drift on back, and now he's got the 33 of Weishart pushing him.
Well, some smoke on the front stretch there, but while they are not teammates on the track, they're still teammates off the track. Close friends, Grant and Weishart, now leading the way on the bottom line. Nichols in third, trying to fend off Ryan Hartz. Still getting a run on the outside from JT Poole and Elliston.
Alan Valacino in the middle 3 wide here off turn number 2. That's not a place you really want to be. A little bit of motion and shuffling here on the mid-pack. This is, again, you hear a lot of the real-world NASCAR announcers talk about how it's always amazing how you can crash on the straightaways here because there's just so much movement from side to side here. And you have a lot of shuffling that you have to worry about.
The field coming up through the tri-oval now on lap 42. Curious to see. Now, we obviously had that wreck not too terribly long ago. However, the fuel mileage situation, I imagine, is going to be looking pretty interesting here. Is he looking at, maybe that's Jacob Bell in the 77?
Yeah, it sounds like we had a little bit of an issue with him a moment ago off of turn number 4 a couple of laps ago, and we're going to see if that
was he the cause for that smoke, maybe?
I think he was, and see that time through. Just a couple of laps ago, we're trying to see exactly where that came from, but maybe he hit pit lane first.
Further back.
A little further back before the pit stop, it looks like.
There is a reason he came down pit road.
Like, oh, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And Eric has more on this.
Yeah, guys, radio from the Jacob Bell Racing team here.
I just did a full 360, went on to pit lane, and didn't even get a penalty, and I made it under pit road speed.
So Jacob Bell got turned out of the line, missed pit entry wall miraculously, and was not speeding, so he's able to roll through. Pretty much just a drive-through penalty, more or less, for the 77, but he has lost the lead draft.
Well, skills to pay the bills there, Eric. Nice catch. Thanks for that. I knew the smoke came from somewhere. A little bit of contact puts him back. Look at Nichols now to the outside, Finian, and the 3 again drops to the bottom this time instead of the 5. Those red single-digit cars making big moves, and now Hartz takes the lead away.
You could see as soon as they did that, 91 felt like a rock. Absolutely nothing he could do. Just completely lost the momentum, and off they go. Hartz and Poole to the top 2 spots. And some lap cars coming up.
And again, PTSD already again. Boys, move out of the way. Do not slow down in the corners. Stay high, or if you're caught on the straightaway, go low and stop below the apron. I cannot have another wreck with lap cars again.
Here we go. The 91 of Jake Nichols is going to have to split the needle here, split the difference between the 37 and lap traffic on the outside and lead lap traffic on the inside. This time, I think we're going to get through it. But even still, there were 2 lap cars. One went high, one went low. It's a little bit of coordination, Finian, and I think they have yet to sort that all the way out.
Yeah, I mean, we went through there. Luckily, no issue. Ooh, he's some squirming up near the front. This is all right. I think we're going to see the wreck here come from the lead. These guys cannot decide who they want to be in front. We saw before this last caution, we saw Nichols. Everyone was comfortable with him in the front. Now we got some new players near the top few spots, and they have been absolutely going at it the last 10, 20 laps.
JT Poole, the rookie, his first ever official points race in the area iRacing at a cup level, and he's leading that bottom row with help from the 5 of Garrett Grant. But that outside lane is strong. It's got Hart, it's got Weishart, it's got 91 of Nichols, and there goes Weishart down low. Oh, scratch that. 33 of 3 leading the way.
Got a lot of strong drivers. They just don't like to stay up there. As soon as they get to the lead, they drop to the bottom, and then the next fastest driver goes up to the outside. A big push from the 91 to the 3. Wiggles and wobbles, and now 4 laps to halfway here, Finney, and the pressure is building. What's going to pop?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I really think that this next wreck's going to come from these top few spots. Something just going wrong with the way they've been swapping positions. I see Nichols to the inside of Hart's being left out to dry. I'm curious what some of these guys up in the back, in the middle of the field, are thinking. If they're, wanting to continue going on with this, or they want to potentially drop back. And speaking of dropping back, I don't think we've seen a second pack form in this run.
No, we haven't. And for this particular run, I'd be a little bit concerned about dropping back because that didn't work out super well the last time everyone did that. Everyone kind of got involved in it no matter what. I think I want to be out front. The challenge is there's a lot of things keeping you from going out front. So that's other cars. There's still a lot of people in this race. Now, from our 2 crashes, we've had about a little under probably 8 or 9 retirements, but the other 34 cars are still up and rolling.
Yeah, it's still, it's still kind of amazing that we have so many cars left in this race. We're just about to approach halfway on 48 of 100. And again, approaching another lap car shortly. I almost got to point it out because of what happened that one wreck.
Jacob Bell that time, and Eric, as we approach the halfway point, seems like the pressure is building up front. There's still half this race left, so what's the urgency to get up front here?
Well, the intensity's picking up on the racetrack, Kyle, but the intensity's picking up here on pit road too. I was listening into David Weishart Racing and the 88 team, specifically Brad Slaughter, having those audio issues tonight, still managing those. But they started talking about pitting here anywhere between lap 45 and lap 50, so they're right in that window. It's going to be one more stop once they make this pit stop. Not too many rumblings of pit road activity from the rest of the teams, but David Weishart Racing thinking strategy of getting the early stop in and pushing from the back of the pack here.
Certainly something to keep our eyes on here. Last pit stop 18 laps ago, but it's all about getting yourself in a window, Finney. And at this stage of the race, we're going to have about 50 laps to go next time by, 51 to go next time by. So, yeah, pitting with your buddies, that's important. But getting out of this pack, if you're on the high side, you have to work your way to the bottom, and that's going to be chaos in itself.
Oh, it is. Ooh, we see a car squirrely there. The yellow car, number 18 in the middle of the screen, Springer. A little bit slow, a little bit loose off the corner, using a huge amount of momentum.
Ooh, the 18's going to drop in front of the 2. That was a dicey moment, but they're losing ground to Ballacino in 6th. Everybody else shuffling forward. It's a 6-car breakaway, if you could call it that. But Ricky Springer in that 18 now splits the difference between the 2.
Yeah, it looks like we've been on, let's see, we got the restart lap 33. So we've been going green ever since then. Let's see, we're probably halfway through to this stint to a potential pit stop. When do you think we're going to start seeing guys coming down? I'm thinking probably like lap 60, 65, because then you can make it all the way to the end. I would think, or be close to making it to the end.
Yeah, well, again, strategy, it's about when you can get to pit lane conveniently. I think at this stage, it's, again, we're going to basically do what you did the first half of the race, but we had a couple of yellows that broke that up, so it's not as predictable as you otherwise would think. But as we hit halfway, lap 51 of 100, we are halfway through the area 500. Jake Nichols leads the way. He has been the dominant car so far. 39 of the 51 laps he has led. Been a dominant one so far for Nichols. But others have begun to challenge, including David Weishart, JT Poole, and more, Finney.
These guys have been doing an excellent job up here, just going back and forth between swapping who's the leader. And I'm just genuinely amazed we didn't see any incident out of that, because they were fighting like it was the last lap of the race, and we, again, like you said, just eclipsed halfway now, so still got half the race left to go. I starting to see some stragglers near the back. I don't really know they're necessarily making a definitive second pack, but they're just keeping in tow, and I think they're going to try to avoid, like you mentioned earlier, make sure you don't drop back too far.
Yeah, it starts with the number 12 of Shane Abbey. And it looks like they are beginning to form, I guess what you could call a second pack, but now Shane's going to drive right back up to him, so I don't think that was an intentional split.
Oh, he's going to have a head full of steam. Nowhere to really go, though, unless he wants to make a third lane happen, which I don't really think you want to do at this point in the game.
Look at the speed of combined. Almost 200 here, and I think he broke 200 for a moment, but then has to lift. That's a 10-mile-an-hour difference into turn 3 for him.
Yeah, big lift. That's the fun thing. Again, these cars, the end of the Gen 6, that package, it was so hard to keep your place in line and get it sucked back up to the car in front. But now it's so easy. You just get in behind. The car punches a huge hole in the air and able to get a really solid run. And that's what makes this so interesting, because you can build these nice runs. It's very variable, very unpredictable, especially when you get to the top of the field, unless you have these guys single file like they are now.
Up out of turn number 2 and onto the back straightaway. More lap traffic to contend with. The sun is also setting. Now, this isn't a track that you normally have a lot of handling issues. I don't think it's going to be a big factor tonight, but it does change the intensity level. It's just one of those things, as Darrell Waltrip always said, it's like turning the contrast up on your TV. Makes everything sharper and cooler to look at, but for the drivers, you know, the further that sun sinks on the Florida horizon, the closer and closer you get to the checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely. You always say, nighttime is the right time for a lot of these guys. I don't think we're going to quite get to the nighttime. It's going to be definitely very late in the afternoon. And then it's just going to really put emphasis. These guys know this race is going to be coming closer and closer to the end. It's still relatively okay for now. Everyone's still running fairly calm. Only 2 cautions so far in this race. But I have a feeling that number is going to tick up before it's all said and done.
I think that's safe to assume as we get closer and closer to the end of this race, the chance for yellows climbs pretty significantly, especially when you start talking about late race cautions that trigger those green-white checkered scenarios, Finney, and I think that's another thing to be concerned about. Well, those late race green-white checkers, you can never really build the momentum that you would get on just a green run to the end. So keep that in mind also when you position yourself those last 10 or 15 laps.
For sure. And we're already starting to see now these guys starting to get single fouled out. Looks like everyone's kind of happy with the place in line for now. We're probably going to see this go until we see some green flag pit stops, or unless someone feels like, just the heck with it, I'm just going to go up to the front.
Oh, we just saw that Valancino up to the outside lane, now being pushed by the 18 of Ricky Springer. He's been squirrely ever since he's gone to that outside lane, making some slicing and dicing moves. Oh, just saw one there. Questionable bump there to the 70 Valancino. Nonetheless, everybody's still single filing. Oh, no, lap car. Uh-oh, deja vu. Deja vu, Kyle.
This is not something unique to area, by the way. This has happened in many leagues that SimTV has broadcasted. Hey, Finney, remember a couple seasons ago, the Outsider Racing League situation? That was a big mess with a couple laps to go and a lap car causing a big crash. So it's certainly no strange situation, but it definitely makes you clench just a little bit every time you go around. Look at Ricky Springer giving that big shove to the 70, but they're making ground up there, Finney. Look at the run.
Yeah, they definitely have. And it's funny how Hunter mentioned that the 18 was a little squirrely. Even on this run, even earlier too, we saw him be a little bit squirrely, but now it looks like he's got it down, giving the 70 some really solid bumps. They've been making some slow and steady progress. Now, the question is anyone on the inside lane going to jump to the outside now with that run?
Well, you saw that green car there of Ed Robertson. He's been involved in both cautions that we've had tonight, and he's still running inside the top 10. I don't think there's anything that can keep the 64 car out of it. And speaking of out of it, Eric Weiland's back. Eric, what do you got from the pit?
Hey guys, you see Fazekas working the top side of the racetrack. That's a planned move here from Fazekas Motorsports, especially the 70 of Alan Valancino and the 18 of Ricky Springer. Here's radio.
I'm not clear yet. Give me like a lap. Maybe not, dude. They got a huge run.
Pit stops are coming.
So a lot of strategy talk up and down pit road here. They're trying to figure out the laps. JT Poole just said over the radio in sim that he was unchecking his tires, so he apologized for his squirrely driving. But pit stop's not too far away here. Guys, they're just getting close to maybe making it on one stop. I'm not sure that they can do it on one. They might still need to splash and go toward the end. Regardless, Fazekas trying to get themselves in position here before the stops.
Yeah, making moves is looking pretty frantic. The one car, Seth Noel, dropping out of this mix. He was 3 wide for a moment. He's bailed on that idea. The 18 drops to the bottom, and the 22 of Dom DeLeo, and now just has help from the 17 of Michael Sturgill, who we have not really talked about tonight. Started dead last, 41st. Here he is up inside the top 10, and it's looking really racy now mid-pack as we head down the backstretch, Finian.
Yeah, I'm curious how much of this is guys actually trying to get to the front and how much of this is guys just trying to find a place in line. I think I saw 2 guys jump from the bottom up to the top lane. So some guys still, I think, trying to take advantage of everyone just getting in line, waiting for the pit stops to come, and then some guys decide to take advantage and get themselves close to the front.
Yeah, I would assume so. We're going to see pit stops in the next handful of laps or so. That's why we see most of the field single file. Some drivers still on the outside, like the 17 car and like the 26. But everybody trying to get in position to make it on the pit road safely as we
up out of turn 2 now. Everybody thundering by. The cameras up on the outside of the wall, but the 17 is Sturgill with a push from behind. That is the number 26, rather, of Jonathan Coxwell, another driver that we haven't talked a ton about. Guy that has Roasted Gems Coffee, our grid sponsor, on the side and hood of the car. He started 38th. A lot of drivers that started towards the tail of the field, moving their way forward. Big swipe. Oh, Cogswell's on the wall out of turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to keep it out of there as he gets back going again. It looks like he's just going to have to deal with some right side damage. I think minor right side damage. Let's see what happened.
That just went up. I don't know if a tire might have went down or if the steering might have blocked up or something, but he's still going.
Here's an onboard here. Just gets behind it. One of the other things that can happen here is you lose visibility for a second behind that other car. And if you're behind in the steering just a little bit, you can really quickly get yourself out of that arc and end up tagging the outside wall. But he's got some pretty significant damage here. And everybody now, look at this, single file on the bottom of the racetrack. Pit stops are very close and impending here as they roll out of turn 4.
And from the sounds of it, with some guys pitching both some fuel mileage, maybe even a splash, you're going to see probably most people pitting at the last possible second. What that means is that pit lane can be a very, very busy place in just a short amount of time.
You got the snake method going down. Everybody and their mom on the single file line down on the double yellow line, being led by none other than Jake Nichols.
He's been the dominant force of the day and has led most of the laps here by far, 49 of the 61. Now, talking about the championship, we mentioned how important every point is. Leading the most laps in this race, he just needs to lead 2 more, and he's got that locked down.
Yeah, you could argue he's probably already got that locked down with a few other guys being up there near the front, but it just showing really how solid his day has been. 49 out of 61 laps led, and that's assuming that he's going to continue on this dominant form. The lap car going by on the top now, plenty of room for everyone down on the bottom. I'm just curious to see who's going to be the one to strike the hammer and who's going to be coming down first, and how many guys are going to be coming down first in that first wave.
It will be interesting to see when and where that does occur. Looking through the chat, I want to give a thanks to Splash and Go Live for donating $10 to the American Red Cross. Once again, all donations made to the American Red Cross are going towards those in relief for Hurricane Ian, the hurricane that ravaged through the Florida area, especially at the Daytona International Speedway in real life. Most of the track is flooded. Some of the banking is washed away on the outside of the racetrack, but thinking about all those affected from Hurricane Ian, and once again, all the donations in the chat going to the American Red Cross to those in need.
Take a look at Ryan Hart's running third with the Rick's Hot Sauce car. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the points standings. By the way, we should also mention that this race is $50 to win. Finian, you throw some money down on the table, it will make people do almost anything in the closing laps of a race.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of these guys are willing to just try to do their best to win this race without having money in the line. You throw $50 someone, throw $50 out to someone, especially for winning race. Oh, that's going to be that much more sweet for some of these guys to win it. And you're going to see, like you mentioned, you're going to see a lot of guys do some crazy moves, pinch in the last few laps to get themselves in a position to get those $50.
$50 can buy someone a really nice New York strip.
Well, the thing I like about money races, right, is there's no real risk here at the end of the day. Like, you're not taking the impacts to the safer barrier, so people will just flat out dump you for $50. I would flat out dump you for $50.
For sim racers, $50 is a lot.
That's a lot of money. That's like the $1 million All-Star race to someone who just runs iRacing all the time. So that's definitely a consideration. We got a little bit of split strategy going around the lap car here, and here comes the 09 as Senesac, and he's going to bring more with him. It looks like David Weishart's going to pull off.
Yep, that's actually teammates Weishart and Senesac. Don't think that was choreographed to go that way, but nonetheless, it does start green flag pit stops, and we got the 13 of Player down on pit road as well, and looks like the 5 of Grant is in also. The 45 is Simon finding making his way down pit road. Going to see a lot of, probably a lot of splash to go, maybe some tires.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just too surprised we see, you know, some guys just taking right side tires. I feel like you might as well with the amount of fuel, because you're going to be filling this thing up to the brim and then some to go all the way, and then just kind of assuming that if we get a late race caution, you have an extra for some green white checkers. But come down now out of turn 4 again. We see more guys coming down. Yep, 2 guys in the middle of the pack.
Yep, look, that's the 27 and the 1 and the 28 and the 17. Look out, don't speed on pit lane, Finian. It's like they get it all woed up.
Yeah, they did get it woed up. Did they get it woed up enough is the big thing. That's always the issue. You come down flying down pit lane, you got to slow down very quickly, and these brakes, let me tell you, they are not good. Oh, Beckner!
Yep.
Beckner's slipped through his box.
Yeah, let's have a look here at Beckner's pit entry. Just takes a little bit and skids right through it and has to back up, and that'll be a little bit of time lost for sure. Out of turn 4, here they come again. Jake Nichols leads the pack. Any more takers this time? Here they come. Nichols, JT Poole, big slide from the 11 of Jordan Martin. He's going to lock up that tire. Can he get it slowed down? Boy, that was quick, but I think he got it done.
You better take right side, because that right front was locking up big time. Oh, the cone went flying. Someone hit the cone. That might be a penalty.
It could be, certainly, but all right, now that turns the lead back over to Alan Ballacino, Ricky Springer, Dom DeLeo, and looks like Greg Mitchell is tucked in there in the back here, Finney, as they head down the back straightaway. Starting to run out of drivers that have not yet pit, but here's the good news. If they made it this far, they should be able to make it to the end, right?
Yeah, keyword is should be able to make it to the end. We have to really see. It really depends on where you're going to be running in the pack. If you're going to be running near the front out in clean air, you're going to be burning a lot more fuel than the guys who are sitting in the pack and, you know, modulating the throttle and not on it 100%. Here comes Alabama Chino leading down a pretty sizable group coming on down. The 18 as well, splitting him 3 wide. Ooh, and the 22 just gets the slow down time.
Yep, might be the last of the main guys to come down pit road. Might be a couple more that we haven't seen yet, but so far the 12 of Shane Abbey leading the way.
12 the 4, the 9 of Matthew Bell. Here's a driver we haven't talked about. He just kind of snuck under the radar most of this race. I don't even think we've looked at this car yet. The number 9 of Matt Bell in the Logitech Ford Mustang. Quietly sneaking around tonight. It looks great, doesn't it, Finney?
That is a great looking car. It's very solid. Only 2 colors, but very simple paint scheme, but very effective paint scheme. That 9 Pond, the really good looking race car, and it is coming down pit lane now.
Yep, this is all of IRLC Motorsports, a new team coming in. Abbey looking a little too hot coming down pit road, but IRLC Motorsports running 1, 2, 3 at the moment. And it looks like the 01 of Beverly might have come down pit road as well.
Oh, and the 12, I think just went flying to the wall as well.
Yep, add that to the list. That's a painful way.
Oh, and in the box wrong as well. Oh, well, this is just a painful.
Hopefully
cycle.
Hopefully the pit crew members have body armor on.
not the same type of body armor, but
you have to hope it's the same, because that was not exactly a graceful pit entry. Look at this mess out of turn 4. Everybody's in this pack.
And this is everyone getting back up to speed, and guys fighting with the guys who are already been out there running some laps. So seeing guys going 2, almost 3 wide getting up to speed.
And the cars that should cycle to the front of this pack, Hunter, are, I think, the 22 of Dom DeLeo is going to be the leader of this race.
Actually, the 9 is. He just came off pit road right there. He's just in front of the 22. So the 9 of Matthew Bell with a great pit stop, but once again, not up to speed. And speaking of up to speed, Eric Weiland down on pit road. Lots of chaos down there. Get us up to speed with what we caught up with.
Yeah, guys, I'm standing down here on pit road. Pretty much every single driver that's come down has taken 4 tires and fuel. The only unique ones I've seen, Brad Slaughter taking only right sides on his stop. As you're going to hear the pack come by me here. Chris Seidenfaden, only 2 tires on his stop, as well as packing. Weishart guys were the first to pit, bringing everyone else down with them. Also, one other note, Danny Ware speeding on entry. Just has to drive through to clear that. And that's pretty much going to take him out of the race without a yellow here. These guys will be good to the end of the race, Finney and Hunter and Kyle. So expect green flag racing the rest of the way unless they decide to junk it.
Well,
thank you, Eric.
I think that's a pretty good chance. Now, the pit lane penalty, again, I wouldn't say I'd be it's not catastrophic. Let's just be honest. It's probably going to be yellow before the end of the race. The best thing you can do right now is find a buddy and don't go more than one lap down. Keep yourself in contention for that lucky dog or to get the wave around here because I think you're going to need that opportunity here, Finian, as we hit 30 laps to go here from Daytona.
Yeah, now we're really starting to get down to the nitty-gritty, assuming that everyone can make it to the end, which I think we're sitting more in the side of everyone can make it to the end. Now it's going to be the sprint. We were talking about this being an endurance race. When we knocked off 70 of those laps, we're down to 30. This is pretty much the length of the duels that we had last week for these guys. So it's a sprint all the way from here on out. Now, any give and take, I think you could throw that out the window. It's all just take, as we saw an aggressive move there on the back straightaway.
Oh my goodness, was that the one of Seth Noel? Indeed it was. Take a look at our Simrat market replay here. It looks like, or it might have been the 32 GT Pool.
Yeah, off the bumper of the one. He just went for a ride there, Hunter.
Yeah.
Man.
And he's back to bumping the 91 of Jake Nichols. Boy, it's starting to get intense up front. This isn't even the main pack. Well, technically it is, but this is all for fourth. The top three are about a second in front of this group. And it's all Physicus Motorsports guys, an affiliation also with Ricky Springer. So the Leo Springer and Balancino currently the top three. Meanwhile, the battle for fourth continues in that pack right behind him.
I like what's going on right now with the front three. DeLeo, Springer, and Balancino, they are making up ground on this second pack. They're going to be fighting kind of nose to tail here and side by side. If they continue to do this, they're going to lose a little bit of ground. A three-car pack, Finian, is fast enough to make lap time here. Two cars, maybe not so much. Three, you can make up really good time. So as long as those front three stay nose to tail and work together like they have been, it might be tricky for the second pack to catch them, especially if they can't agree on who should go first.
Yeah, and they're really, the second pack, they kind of will have to have a little bit of a gentleman's agreement for about 10 or so laps, or maybe try to make some inroads. Until they can catch around a second back from that leading pack, they might be able to get something, and then they can start battling from here on out. But this leading group, they're doing a great job of managing the gap at just over 2 seconds. It hasn't been decreasing, so this top three, if they can just make sure to just get themselves single file line, no mistakes, no issues, not try to fight each other. Obviously, I don't think that should be too much of an issue because they are teammates. They should be able to go pretty quick and keep that lead.
Yeah, lots of chaos going on here. And speaking of chaos, Eric Weiland back from pit road got more chaos for us.
Yeah, I managed to escape the noise of pit road once again back here in the media center. But again, scanning drivers' radios. You know, super speedway racing, guys, can sometimes be monotonous, and that it was the case for Danny Ware there. So just to clarify, his speeding penalty came on pit exit. He was actually only 2 miles per hour over. He hit 62 there on the exit. Couldn't go much up over 60 on pit road here at Daytona. And I got a radio here for you guys. If you give me one moment to find it. Here we go. Here's Danny Ware just 2 laps before he came down pit road.
Yeah. Guys, I'm checking the phone again.
Oh my God.
So Danny having a little fun out there, but maybe just lost the focus for just a moment. Now, obviously, that was before they came to pit road. Coming down pit road, getting off pit road, just maybe lapse of focus right there that cost the 0 a chance at winning the race without the help of a yellow.
And then, oh my God, you heard was from Ryan Swan. That's probably what he's saying right now. Look,
wow.
Guys, there were 3 wide in front of him. Jordan Martin, he might have clipped the wall there, sorry there, Kyle, but Martin getting shuffled out, and Ryan Swan, there he is in 19, heading back with him.
Yeah, he did get in the wall there in the middle of turn 1 and just kind of got put 3 wide and ended up scraping the fence. If you're going to either scrape the fence or scrape your competitors, I choose the fence every day. The wall isn't going to jump back at you. If you hit competitors, they probably will. So it's one of those things that you got to choose the lesser of 2 evils. If you're going to hit something, hit the thing that's not going to bounce across the racetrack and smash into more people.
And you actually see also, too, with that incident happening, the outside lanes pretty much disappeared. Everybody getting back down on the bottom. And now you can see they really are starting to catch up to the guys up in front. Gap down to 1.3 seconds back from the overall leader. They're about a second back from the 3 of Balancino in general. So they're going to be catching up pretty quick. And I would say with them being single file, they have enough might have enough momentum to just swing around the top 3.
Yeah, I think there is a gentleman's agreement amongst this big pack behind the top 3 and saying, hey, we're not going to go anywhere. We're still door to door. Let's all get single file. Then we can go door to door once we get back up with them. And they are closing in. I believe they're within the draft of the top 3, and things are about to get pretty intense up here for Fazekas guys.
I'd say so. 24 laps to go. The intensity is ratcheting up here at Daytona International Speedway for the Area Cup Series. We're clicking down the laps here, and look at the block from the 70 up the racetrack on the 5, through a huge block to try to keep everybody in tow, and now everybody scatters behind him as they hit turn 1, Finian.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were going to do, because I had a feeling that they were going to try to throw a block, spread out, fan out, to keep those guys, because obviously they had way more momentum and should have been able to easily blow on by. Ballachino, an aggressive block. I'm genuinely amazed that wasn't a wreck there.
It was almost a wreck. Almost had another wreck in the 3-wide pickle with Seth Noel and 88 of Slaughter nearly making contact, but now Ballachino, scratch that. It's the 7 of Scioli leading the way on the outside now. And they're catching lap traffic. Boy. That is the 00 of Danny Ware. Everybody stay calm. This is in the middle of the trial. Everybody relax. Hold your breath.
Squeeze through the middle goes the 5 car of Garrett Grant, and the 9 car of Matt Bell follows through as well. Lap 78, we continue, but the intensity is ratcheting up so fast, so quickly. Finian, I could not believe we made it through that particular lap. Look at all the movement from the 18 on the bottom. He's way sideways out of turn 2.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to give the 7, not the 7, give his teammate the 22 a shove, but just can't quite get there, can't quite get connected. However, their teammate, the number 7, is giving a huge shove to Scioli up in front now.
Yeah, this is not what Fazekas expected, because now they're starting to fade on the bottom. Everybody on the outside starting to move forward, but they still have the 70 of Ballachino. The 7 and the 5 are in the middle of that. They were teammates last season. Now they're on separate teams as the 5 goes to the inside, trying to get some help from the 22 of the wheel heading into turn 1.
Yeah, Garrett Grant has been making big moves all night long. So has the number 3 of Ryan Hartz. You give those guys a clear lane on the bottom of the racetrack, and they will do that elevator move top to bottom every time. As we come out of turn number 2, we're closing in on 20 laps to go, and things are going to continue to get wilder and wilder. If you thought this racing wasn't good already, it's about to get more crazier. Look at the 1 car jump to the outside lane and join the party up there, Finian.
Yeah, trying to join the party, trying to make some things happen here. And now the 5 of Garrett Grant, he's coming back with the Fazekas guys, 22, the 18 at least on the bottom. I was a bit surprised. I was expecting to see the 70 Ballachino dive to the bottom and control that bottom lane, but it looks like he's happy with Scioli being in behind Scioli on the top.
Looks like he's trying to stay in a comfortable position here for Fazekas Motorsports. Although it is race 1 of the season, you got to think about points not only for yourself, but for the team as well. Want to get the best result for the team. And they're starting to catch another lap car down the back stretch. This is fun.
This is fun. This is good. Everything's going great. Well, we're 20 laps to go next time by, and I don't think we can guarantee that for all that long.
No.
Look at the 70 and the 7 giving a huge shove on the outside lane, Finian, as they hit the banking in turn 3.
No, it is going to get more nerve-wracking with having the lap cars before, guys are able to move out of lane and kind of make things work. But now it's going to be getting to the point it's going to be less and less likely that's going to happen. You just see them slowly snaking their way around the lap car, but these lap cars you're going to probably see starting to be used as some picks, and we've seen that happen in the past. I think that happened particularly in that Outsiders race. One driver used the lap car as a pick to try to make a pass happen, and that ended up causing the wreck. Wouldn't be too terribly surprised if we see something like that happen here.
Also bouncing off the wall too. Sorry, Hunter, as the 37 car hit the fence through turns 1 and 2 there, Hunter.
Oh, we got 3 wide. Nope, Weishart making it 3 wide up the middle. Ballachino now in the sucker hole. Well, he's got the 1 of Seth Noel, and we already know what he's capable of, making aggressive moves and bumps, so that's going to go as expected. And they're still door-to-door for the lead. Scioli on the outside, Grant on the bottom. 2 rows of 3 wide in the back.
Out of turn 4, 19 laps to go this time by, and of course the pressure is building. When is that cork going to pop? The 88 has nowhere to go. He's in the middle now. The 1 car has no help going forward. Finian as they head to turn 1. Scioli leads the way. We hadn't talked about him all day long, but here he is with 19 to go, leading the top spot.
Whoa! And you see the 1 and the 1 and I'm trying to see who that is. Can't see because it's too blurry on my screen. The
88 is Slaughter.
80. Oh, okay. I thought it was the 88. Couldn't quite tell what the way the font is. Yeah, but Slaughter almost dooring the 1 there in the middle of the corner, getting really close. I was curious to see when we're going to see that 3 wide happen. Finally has come out. Is it going to last, though? Actually, as I say that, you go back to 2 wide. But how about Brad Slaughter? I haven't really seen a whole lot of him since the start of the race.
Well, Slaughter's in it when it matters, and we're starting to get down to where it matters. That outside lane Starting to get more squirrely. Springer on the bottom with a big bump from Balancino. And out comes Noel, making it 3 wide on the outside. They're going to head into turn 1. It's going to get tight.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man, that was 3 abreast. The 3 car still trying to make a lane up there up top. The 33 didn't want him to go there. The 1 and the 7 are hooked up top as they head through the banking at turn 1 and 2 onto the Daytona super stretch. Battle for the lead with 18 laps to go here in the area 500. Lots of movement side to side as they head down the super stretch, Finian.
Yeah, there you see Brad Slaughter lining up in behind, and he's making the moves happen. You see the 18 dropping like a rock, absolutely no momentum with no one to help him. Directly in behind now, Balancino giving him the shove from behind. You see Scioli, the 1, and then the 88 up on top. And it's going to sound like a cop-out the way now that I'm saying it now, but I did prick in my head. I did prick Brad Slaughter to win this race, and he's come back to try to do it.
He's the defending champion for a reason. He makes the aggressive moves when it matters most. And got 17 laps left, so you got to make the most of your opportunities. He's trying to do that. Third car on the outside lane, trying to make it 3 wide on the outside, and Seth Noel going to be in the middle here down the backstretch.
Boy, that was tight. The 1 car has nowhere to go. He has to bail out. The 88 is Slaughter. Just slaughtered the 1 car as he went to the outside lane, and now he drops from, 2nd to 12th in half a straightaway. Now the 11 car picks him up in turn 3, Finian.
What an aggressive move. What a big payoff for the 88 of Slaughter. Now he's just got James Scioli to deal with. I'm curious to see, is he going to try to make a move on the 7 now, or is he going to wait for a better opportunity? Because that inside lane, it looks like they're starting to come back just a little bit. The 70, the 18 getting hooked up a little bit off the nose, almost the 18 getting turned.
Oh, look at the 5 up the middle. There they go. Crash turn 1.
It's the big one. There you go. That's the rest of them. If they weren't involved in the 1 earlier, they're involved in 1 now.
Only a matter of time.
Junkyard between turns 1 and 2.
Only a matter of time. Where did that all start?
I'm not sure. It was interesting because we were looking at the front, almost with the 18 getting turned off the nose of the 70. The 70 was still involved in this somehow.
I know the 64 was again.
5 of.
Oh, the 5. There it is. Yep. Oh man. We have to watch this.
Leo. Ed Robertson's been in like every single caution, literally.
Here's a look at it again, and down the front straight. Watch the 64 and the 70, and then the 5 goes up the middle here. He shoots for this gap, gets into the back of the 64, then turns a 70 across the racetrack. Dom DeLeo has nowhere to go. The 11, the 37, the 21 again. Involved in this, and then more involved ahead of that. The 17 took a huge impact on the right front there, Michael Sturgill. And then the 64 got clobbered again after that.
I think one guy we definitely got to ride on board with Nichols is that he narrowly made his way on through there. I saw him snaking his way like he was in a movie trying to avoid all this carnage.
Watch this. The 64 gets turned around off the nose of the 21, and then right here gets hit by the 13, sends it airborne. And more crashing and impact after that. But I think the other cars involved here, the 17 and the 27. Look at the 27's hit up top here. Look at the 17's ride that he went on. Just so many cars taking big hits here. Watch this. Bam! Right front, then gets hit again. Man, this is a wild ride. Let's ride on board first.
Rolls over from the banking.
Yeah, let's watch right on board with the 17. And then, Finn, who was the one that you mentioned?
The 91.
91. There he is. Well, right.
Oh, actually, this is...
Yep. Oh. Off the rear of the 91 is probably what we want to watch. On board Jake Nichols. And there's the start. Ooh. See ya. Oh.
Got a little bit tag on the wall at the end, but he somehow was in the exact right spot. He had guys in front of him wreck, he had guys in behind him wreck, and he was just narrowly able to escape.
Man.
Gone.
Get down, Digger.
Woof.
Oh, Digger. Hopefully Digger's okay.
I'm hoping.
All right. Okay. With all that out of the way, Eric Wineland is now standing by.
Hey guys, down here on pit road, everybody that's down here is pretty much getting damage fixed. It's not a lot of urgency for any sort of fuel. They were good on fuel after that last green flag stop. A couple tire stops here and there, but most of the guys just fixing damage. We've got stops already up over 30 seconds here on pit road. But I did want to report that as that wreck happened, here's some radio from the David Weishart racing team.
Good stuff, boys. That's what I'm talking about, boys. Good stuff.
So, as you can hear, the David Weishart racing team, Brad Slaughter, David Weishart, Bryce Senesack, Chris Seidenfeld, and James Scioli those cars happy with what happened there because they had just made that move on the top lane, as you guys documented, hanging out Seth Noel, and then the wreck happened just half a lap later.
Things happen fast here at Daytona. Now, here's what we're setting up for. We talked about this in the pre-race, Finian. You have a caution pretty late in the race that sets you up for these chaotic 12, 10, 8-lap runs to the end. We've had 3 yellows so far. I don't think we're done.
No, I don't think we're done either. With you know, just coming off a big wreck, coming down to the end of it, like you mentioned, there's just so much on the line, and you're not going to have a whole lot of time to kind of get yourself organized and kind of settle into a rhythm, because we're only going to have, 13, 12 laps to go by the end of this race. So you're going to have to get going, find a lane, try to get yourself, if you're in the back, you have to try to find your way, snake your way on through to the front if you're not already there, and then try to make something happen. It's a lot to do. It's going to be a very chaotic restart. I would be genuinely surprised if we get to the end in one green flag run. I feel like we're going to see another caution before this is all over.
Might see 2 more cautions. With the way the aggression level is going to rise here, like we're going to have 12 laps to go when we go green, and we've already seen what they do when they go 3 wide. I think we're going to see more of that. Also, down in the chat, want to give a big thanks to James Shanewolf and Alan Elwood donating to the American Red Cross and Hurricane Relief for those affected by Hurricane Ian. That's $70 of our $100 goal. So thank you to Splash and Go Studios, Elwood Blues, and Snaggles83 for your donation.
All right, as we get geared up for this restart here, we'd like to take a moment to thank AreaIRacing.shop and have you head over there. Fans, be sure to check out AreaIRacing.shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more at AreaIRacing.shop. All right, getting set up for a 12-lap run to the end. 2 cautions was a very specific prediction, Hunter. I have a feeling that you've seen a thing or two with this group here, and we've seen wild racing so far. So, Hunter, predictions. Do you have a favorite out of this group?
I'm sticking with my gut of Bryce Senesac, but keep an eye on the 18 of Ricky Springer.
All right, as they roll through turn number 4, Finian, briefly, do you have any pick?
I'm sticking with my picker, Brad Slaughter. He's been doing a fantastic job. Just got himself up near the front and just in a perfect position to make something happen.
All right, I might be picking someone that's a little too obvious, but I think that 91 car has done a great job avoiding the wrecks. Led a bunch of the race. He's a reigning champ. I think he's got what it takes. Green flag here. 12 laps to go from Daytona. Outside lane getting a pretty big start. James Scioli immediately jumping up in front of David Weishart. The 88 of Slaughter and Ryan Hartz follow through on the outside of the turn 2, Finian.
Yeah, you're going to see what they're going to do. They're going to stick to the top, or they're all going to migrate down to the bottom. A big gap back to the 18, who's still struggling to get up to speed. See Noel in the 1 trying to peek out. Look like he might have been tempted to go back to the bottom. Going to stick up near the top.
4 to 5 cars leading that outside line. Ricky Springer down on the bottom, still has help from the 9 of Matthew Bell. And speaking of help, we got our pit road buddy, Eric Wineland, up here. Eric, what you got?
Hey, I got one more good one for you guys right as we get back green here for the end of the race. Solar Flare Racing, although some of them have faced adversity tonight, had a good quote here from the radios. They were getting ready to come back to the green.
It's almost the nighttime.
The nighttime is the right time.
Solar Flare Racing, guys, is looking forward to the end of this race. Keep an eye on that defending series champion, number 91, Jake Nichols, sitting right there in P8, looking for his chance of winning an Area 500.
Well, we said that earlier. Nighttime is the right time, Finian. I think that was your quote. As we get closer and closer, we're coming to 10 laps to go. The 1 car moved over on the 18, but he wasn't clear as they come out of turn 4, Finian. 10 laps, 25 miles remain.
Yeah, nighttime is definitely the right time. Problem is that everyone else in the field is also thinking that the nighttime is the right time, and that's where issues arise. Still kind of impressed. Not impressed, but I'm still surprised that we haven't seen that instant lane come back into a tone. That top lane seems to be going pretty good. The bottoms can't quite get hooked up between the 9 and the 18.
Well, the bomb's going to get formed up here in a moment when some of these guys from the outside, they're going to have to get around the leader, and the only way to do that is going on the bottom, because if you go to the outside, you hit the wall. And speaking of the inside, there comes Jake Nichols in the 91, ready to lead the charge.
Yeah, I like that move from Jake Nichols. He's been super strong out front tonight with a big push from the 18. This is the kind of car they needed, someone that's got the experience poking their way through the field. Look at the run out of turn number 4 now as they come to the start-finish line. 9 laps to go in that bottom lane, gaining momentum at the right time. And meanwhile, the 45 is Seidenfeiten is stuck in the middle trying to find purchase up front, Finian.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to sneak his way on through, make something happen, but no one's quite joining with him just yet. Looks like he's got a car off the bottom, off the back of him.
Oh, wow, the 91, big slide off the nose of the 18. He gathered it back up, Finian, sorry about that, but he was absolutely sideways off the bumper of Ricky Springer.
Oh, yeah, no, that was definitely a scary moment. I'm kind of impressed he didn't go around, but going to muscle his way through to the top spot. Scioli and Slaughter trying to make something happen on the top lane. Sorry, not Slaughter, that is Weishart behind him.
Man, massive moves being made here. Everything's starting to get dicey the closer and closer we get towards the finish. Saw it there with the 91 of Nichols, holding it straight, but Scioli holding his own as well on the outside with a big push.
Yeah, Seidenfeiten still trying to make the middle work here, but the 91 with a push from the 18. Springer has been very aggressive with that front bumper. Scioli has been leading and very fast on the top side with help from the 33 behind.
Oh, that's tight.
They go door to door through turn 1, pinching that bottom groove here, Finian, trying to make him nervous on the bottom side.
Yeah, trying to make them nervous here and back off, getting a little bit separated. Anything they can do just to build up momentum, because now they are very strong. And, oh, I just saw someone move to the middle lane. Not sure that was on purpose or not.
That was Jordan Martin, I believe, that went down the middle. Or actually, that's 61.
Yep.
61 car going
down.
Oh,
3 wide. Here's the 88 sucker hold out of turn 4.
We got 2. We got 3.
Oh,
down
boy.
the middle.
Here they go across the start-finish line. We're 4 wide for a moment with the 28 sneaking on through. 7 laps to go as we hit the final laps here at Daytona.
Yeah, there's a lot of second guessing. It looked like some people were trying to get him behind Slaughter and probably try to push him to the front because they know he's good at what he can do, but then they second guessed and just saw that he was losing way too much time and backed out. So there's a lot of snaking back and forth between the lanes, and it looks like they're back too wide.
Boy, got 2 David Weishart cars up front. Got
trouble behind him. The 45 is Seidenfeiten. The 5 of Garrett Grant.
Now that's to the inside. Well, the caution's out, so forget that. But we're gonna have another restart here, boys, and boy, I'm ready. The caution just happened. I'm already ready for the restart.
Well, let's go back and see how this one formulated. It was the 45, I think, trying to split the difference. Got to go back a little further to catch the genesis of that, but here it is again.
Fairly tame incident compared to the other wrecks we've seen tonight.
Yeah, it's going to get into Beckner here, I think, 45 right here.
Yeah.
Wow, big ride for the 5.
Boy, the 61 car had a good view of that.
And just hip check and around they went.
Good job by the others to gather it back up. Let's ride on board with Hunter. You mentioned the number 61 of Bronson Stafford.
Bronson Stafford. Remember the name Bronson Stafford. After this, front row seat to all this.
Woo. Whoa, man! I think he just saw his light flash before his eyes, and he got very lucky he didn't get turned in behind as well.
Oh, about that. All 3 of those cars that were spinning just you can fit a length of a piece of paper in between the 2. Speaking of piece of paper, Eric Weiland, what you got for us?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Just a couple notes here from Fazekas Motorsports car 70, Alan Balancino. Here's an update on his car after that big one.
My wheel's 45 degrees to the right and earth digging.
So not a good news or not a good situation down there for the 70 for the remainder of this race. Meanwhile, just before the yellow came out, here's radio from the David Weishart group.
18's gonna get hot.
I'm gonna get hot.
That was just before the yellow, guys. So these guys got to pay attention to their engine temps for these final few laps as we're closing in on the checkered flag.
Run it till it blows. 5 to go. I'm running it till that thing blows up. So here's the real question, though: is how long, Finian, can you run these next-gen cars until they blow? I mean, it's probably more than a couple of laps. I say at this point you're probably good as long as it's cooled down under this yellow.
Yeah, that's what I think what a lot of these guys are just going to try to do is just get the engine to cool back down for these final push. I don't think it should be too big of an issue coming back to the green. These couple pace laps, just getting that nice, fresh, cool air to the engine. Now you're just not pushing it and be separated from one another. By the time you get back green and the green flag, I think you should be able to just get up to behind someone and just kind of push them all the way around. What do you think, Hunter?
Well, I think it's going to come down to whoever has a bad block. Whoever has a bad block's going to end up taking themselves out, going to take the guy who's trying to pass them out. I just think we're going to get a random winner out of all this. I really think bad block's we're going to have like a 2012 Xfinity Series finish sort of effect. Someone from like mid-pack is just going to stroll on through, bob and weave like Lightning McQueen, and just come through as the victor.
Was that the race that Buescher won?
Yes, indeed.
What position was he in coming out of turn 4?
I think like 11th or 13th.
All right, well, I'm liking Alan Balacino then, I guess, in that case.
Even with the wheel 45 degrees to the right, he's still going to find a way to somehow.
As long as the car is able to like go somewhat straight.
Look at this.
You should be okay.
You can see in the cockpit here that the green mark I'm going to paint here, that's the tape on the wheel. And yeah, that's off by, I'd say about 45 degrees if my angles are correct. Didn't do great in geometry, but...
You just act like you put in that offset to begin with, then you should be fine.
Turn right to go left.
Yeah.
All right. Lights are out atop the safety car. Means next time by we're going green. This is not a green-white checkered attempt. This is 3 laps to go, a natural 3 to go. And Hunter, we got 1 attempt at green-white checkered?
1 attempt at a green-white checker, and like you mentioned, this is not an official green-white checker. This is just an unofficial green-white checker if we do get to that case. Looking through the Twitch chat, we just reached our goal of $100 raised for the American Red Cross and relief to those affected by Hurricane Ian. I Am Remix donated $30, and speaking of $30, Eric Weiland's back. What you got for us, Eric?
Well, you didn't need to introduce me there, but I appreciate that. I did take home $25 from the preseason opening race with the area shootout, so thank you for that, Hunter. But no, here's some radio from Sky Motorsports just after that wreck.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think all of us had a pretty good shot of that one.
Dude, it was right in front of me.
A wreck right in front of the 2 voices you heard there, Bronson Stafford in the 61 car and also the 19 of Ryan Swan. They're just happy that they were lucky enough to avoid it as we get ready to go green here with 3 exciting laps in the Area 500.
Yeah, the Bronson missed that by about as small of a margin as you can miss it by, Hunter.
Yeah, like I said, remember the name Bronson Stafford. His older brother Matthew's currently playing in the NFL game right now. No, that was a lie. That was a lie. But remember the name, Bronson Stafford.
Okay. We'll remember it. We'll see who else we will remember in the history books here in Area 3. Laps remaining in the Area 500 here at Daytona. Green flag back in the air. Remember, if we get to the white flag, we're going green to the end. Yellow before the white. We're re-racking, restacking, and going for a green-white checker.
It's immediately pulling up to the top lane. Interesting choice, getting back in behind, getting back in front of Weishart. Then you got the one of Noel, Nichols, and Springer all in the top lane. Hart's not able to get going. There you see now Nichols diving to the bottom lane. 3 wide in the mid-pack.
Springer jumping down with Nichols. Going to get a big push here down the backstretch, but that outside line still tightly formed. Scioli, Weissart, and Noel with the 9 of Bell. And it looks like the 4 of Weaver as well. So first 5 cars on the outside line pulling.
Yeah, this is wild. Lots of movement on the back straightaway here. I think we got everybody straight, though. Coming to 2 laps to go. 5 miles remain in the Area 500. Look at them 3 wide. The 88's in the middle. He's been there all night long, but has nowhere to go behind the 16 car of Tom Bourne.
Oh, 4 wide. Oh, that's not going to work. Wreck off the tri-oval.
There goes the rest of them.
Caution.
Balanchino clipping the 5 of Grant into Toledo. They're still crashing down into turn 1.
The
Massive
22
hit still.
Just had a hellacious hit in the turn 1 wall, getting tagged up in that.
Yeah, well, after the wreck, too, I think they all thought they're going to be clear. Ooh, and the 22 was getting beat there for just a second.
Take a look at the replay here. Yep, you mentioned it, and it was just an aggressive move. 2 to go. You got to make the moves that you need to make, and this is the risk that comes with those moves, and Slaughter tried. Boy, there were a lot of guys that just got clipped in that. There's the 22. Hard hit. The 2 of Greg Mitchell as well. The 5 of Grant got clipped also, and the 70 Balanchino was on top of somebody.
Yeah, he sure was. Holy cow, I didn't even see that the first time through. The 70 is certainly spent some time airborne here. We can pick up exactly where he was and all that. Here's another look at it as they come through the trioval here. The 70's on the left side of your screen here. Bam, gets up airborne on top of the 45, a Seidenfeiden that was. Then right here tags the 5 of Garrett Grant, who comes back across the racetrack, flips the 22, and then sends him nose first into the outside wall. Bam, right there. And the 21 again sneaking through with a head of steam.
I think Bronson Stafford also had a...
Yeah, he snuck his way on through as well.
I said, remember the name, Bronson Stafford.
Oh, he's sitting right in the middle of all this. It's going to be a great view. Really involved in it as well. Got a few hits. Oh, pretty solid tip to the right front.
Whoop. Yeah.
That's still 4 cars that slid in front of him that he missed making contact with.
He missed the majority of them. We'll give him that.
Yes.
Here's Delonta Ballard's view.
Yeah, just a pile full, just a huge amount of smoke, nowhere to go. Ooh. Left, right, left, right, left. Whoa, just barely
like
made it
scene
through.
out of Cars.
That's Lightning McQueen avoiding the wreck.
Just needed to do the 4-tire bouncing off the upside-down car thing. Really impressed me.
They go flying 40 feet in the air somehow.
Yeah. This is the X Games 500, actually. All right, so let's reset things here. We're now in overtime here. We're in a green-white checkered scenario. This is our 1 attempt. Should we get another caution flag, the race is over at the time of caution. If we get back to the white flag, then the checkered flag will end the race, and it'll be a race back of attrition. Whoever gets back to the line first will win. A lot of cars still running, a lot of cars wrecked, though. Garrett Grant, Dom DeLeo, Greg Mitchell got tagged up in that at the end. Douglas Newbigging, Brad Slaughter Jr., Bronson Stafford got a piece of that. Michael Sturgill out from a previous wreck. Ed Robertson, Delonta Ballard, Jeff Ryan, many, many more. Still have 21 cars that are rolling. We have 25 on the lead lap as it stands.
Yeah, that wreck really took out quite a few big names. A lot of guys are running in the middle of the pack and near the front, and they were all caught up in that with nothing else to do. Eric?
Ricky Springer summarizing this final upcoming restart, guys, pretty simply here in the 18 car in the Facecas Motorsports channel.
It's about to get crazy. Really, really crazy.
So ready to watch this wild finish here, guys. I'm excited to see who's going to make this happen, but I'd say from the radio chatter, keep an eye on the 7 and the 33 here. You might see a little teamwork on this restart.
Oh boy. Well, teamwork, well, you're going to need it. You just definitely don't want enemies at this stage in the race. You don't want to get hung out to dry. If you've got buddies, you're going to use them here. The challenge, I think, every time we've got one of these limited green-white checkered scenarios, that you're racing to keep it clean, because nobody wants this race to end under yellow. The challenge is you can't really give up that lap and that opportunity to move forward, Finian. So you have to somehow move forward and also not create a crash that will eliminate your opportunity. That's a real tough line to draw.
Oh, it absolutely is, and you got to manage that aggression. Like what you say, you got to manage that aggression with just finding the opportunities, kind of hoping you get the opportunities, and then just making the most out of it. I mean, if you're a guy sitting outside of the top 10, it's unfortunate, but you're kind of out of luck by naturally getting yourself to the front, because no one's going to give you any room. They're going to block you at every single chance they can get, while also moving themselves up the order. So you just gotta, if you're behind 10th, I would think you kind of just have to hope that the entire field wrecks, and you gotta, just pull a Chris Buescher, like we're talking about Daytona 2012, and then just find your way up, hopefully to the front, if there's a wreck on the final lap.
Well, inside that top 10 threshold is the 28 of Travis Beckner. Now, we saw last week Travis Beckner have that aggressive move and close photo finish to win the second duel, and then was immediately hit right afterwards by Hurricane Ian, and he lives over in the Fort Myers area, and he was fortunately more inland than towards the shoreline, because that whole area got destroyed. We're very lucky that he made it out okay. He's currently at his aunt's house because his current house was affected in some way by the hurricane. He's without power, so he almost missed this race, but we're glad that he made it out alive and healthy, and he's running in the 9th spot right now, guys, and wouldn't surprise me if he puts himself in a good spot to potentially win Area 500.
Certainly a possibility. Also, just taking a note of lap since pit for James Scioli. 37, even with the yellows, that's cutting it a little bit close, I think. Here we go. 2 laps left. The last opportunity to finish under green. The Area 500 is back underway as they head towards turn 1, Finian.
Yeah, and off they go. It looks like the inside lane off to a little bit of a better start. We were talking about the teammates working together. Here comes the one, though, on the inside three-way, immediately going to take the lead.
That outside lane is not going at all. I don't know what's going on with that outside lane. Everybody on the bottom is moving up towards the front, being led by Seth Noel as they're 3 wide down the backstretch.
Yeah, that was a horrific start for that upper groove, and they continue to go backwards, almost like they've got damage they didn't know about or something. Overheated the car maybe, but into turn 3. Oh, they're going to crash through the background. Can they keep it straight and get the race under green? They somehow still keep it straight for now as they come out of turn 4. Can they get back to the stripe? Here they come. White flag is waving. One more lap in the Area 500. Can they get there? Yes, they will. Here comes Dwight Beaverly along with Seth Noel to the white here. Oh, they're crashing in the lead.
They're wrecking off.
Travis Beckner to the lead. The 28 of Beckner is leading the Area 500 on the last lap, heading into turn 1 with Ryan Hartz behind pushing.
Where did he come from?
I don't know, but Beckner now leads. Here's Alex Weaver behind. Chris Seidenfeld, and they're going to crash. There goes the 3 car as well. It's a 2-man race to the end. Alex Weaver and Travis Beckner, they have not been up front all night long. Weaver trying to run down the 28.
I don't even know what you do if you're Beckner in this situation. He's just got to block the 4 with everything he's got, and they got some guys still closing up on him.
Out of turn 4.
Coming out of turn 4 for the final time. Travis Beckner leading the way, the 4 of Alex Weaver. There's not much he can do. It's going to be Travis Beckner. They're crashing big time in the back. Travis Beckner's going to win the Area 500. He restarted 9th, coming to the green-white checkered, and he comes through as the victor in the first race of the Area Cup Series Season 3.
Well, it is a junkyard around Daytona International
That's an
Speedway.
understatement. I think every other car on the lead lap got some piece of damage on that last lap. That was spectacular.
And some didn't even make it to the checkered flag. But that's it. Beckner got it. Where did he? We have to go back and watch that come into the white, and also just out of turn 4 a minute ago, there was a lot of chaos as they came out of the
there were
corner.
3 separate wrecks on the last lap.
Now let's first go back.
4 actually. There's one on the back straightaway.
Yeah, so let's go back and look. Dwight Beaverly was the one that was out front with 1 car here. Let's see how this happened here. Look at Dwight to the outside. This is the unnumbered car here. He's got the 4 alongside him. The 28's coming with a big head of steam. The 1 in right here, they're going to get together, and he just pinches the 1 onto the apron. Ooh, that was a nasty hit there.
Wow.
And then, as we move back forward,
It's going to get tight right here with the 41, the 45, and the 3 of Ryan Hartz.
yeah, so again, we'll have to look at this from up above and a little bit slower because there was just so much going on here. But watch the 45 and the 4, and the 41 on the outside here. Here, the 45 is going to tag the 3, which bounces into the 4, back across the racetrack, and then he's going to clip just misses the 41, but I think the 41 and 45 are going to have it coming together. They managed to, I think, keep it straight for most of the remainder of this lap. But then out of turn 3 and 4, that's when things really start to pop off. Obviously, the leaders stay nose to tail, but behind them,
Jake Nichols in that pack, they just have so much momentum coming. 3rd and 4th, they really have nothing. And they all just kind of merge into one there, kind of like what we saw with the shootout.
Oh,
they all merge into one.
Gosh.
They just start running over each other back here.
Who was that took that hit?
I don't know, but he definitely needs a trip to the infield care center.
It was the 20
that.
of Brandon Zimmerman. Watch this as they come through turn 4. Watch the 20 car. Right here, the 7, the 11, the 19, they get together, and then watch this just right hook from the 9 of Bell. Bam! And then watch the 9 car come back across the racetrack. He gets clobbered in the door and airborne.
Wow.
But then the 22 again takes another nasty hit to the inside.
Yeah, the 9 almost doing a flip. That was pretty crazy. 2 really solid hits there.
And watch the 22 back across the racetrack and just more carnage. And Eric Wineland, he's got some audio from the exit of turn 4 coming to the white flag. Let's go back and sync that up and get that audio from Eric Wineland.
Hey guys, what an exciting finish.
Overheating at all. Perfect.
Hang on, we got the wrong clip there. I knew that was going to happen. I almost made it the whole broadcast, guys, without pressing the wrong button. It finally happened on the final one. Here, let me get that stopped for us here real quick. All right, go ahead and line it up right here on the exit of turn 4. Here is the radio from the Miller Racing team.
All right, Travis, don't go with him. Don't go with him, Travis. Oh my gosh.
Down low, coming back up, sliding back up.
Well, that was bad. That was just dumb.
Go,
get him, Travis.
okay, Travis. Keep going, Travis. All right, run's coming low, Travis. Block it. Chris is wrecking. All right, you only got one
Wrecking on
behind
the
you.
backstretch.
You only got one behind you. You just got to block his
Player,
run.
man, you gotta give me the heads up. Fuck. Gonna cost money.
All right, Travis. He's looking high.
God damn it.
Just hold the bottom.
Get out of the way. I just
hold the
killed
bottom. Hold the bottom. Don't let him go. All
Wrecking
right,
out
he's
of
going
3.
to here.
Wrecking out of 4.
Block him a little bit. You got it, Travis.
Travis won?
Here it comes. Here it comes.
No, man.
Yeah.
Travis got the win?
So while yes, Hunter, I did not have the bleep button ready to go. I thought the raw emotion of the win right there would have been great to hear from Travis Beckner. What an exciting finish to the race. What a chaotic finish to the race, guys. I know you guys got the top 3 lined up here for interviews coming up soon, but man, Dawson Miller did a great job coaching his driver home as Miller Racing picks up the Area 500 win via Travis Beckner in the 28.
Yeah, that was a wild one. Here's the 18 of Ricky Springer. Thought he was home free, then pow, right at the end, gets clobbered and then spins wildly. That'll make you dizzy.
Oh, yeah.
Skids across the line in 8th place. So with all
I
that
can
said,
say is that the five of Grant has a sailor's mouth.
all right, guys, here's a look at your race results. Beckner wins by over 1/10 of a second over Alex Weaver, Tyler Nichols in P3, then Ryan Swan, Andrew Player, Gabriel Ellison, Seidenfeiden, Springer, Newbigging, and Jordan Martin. What do these drivers all have in common? Well, most of them weren't really up in the mix until that very last lap finish.
Yeah, no, this entire order is completely chaotic just because the sheer amount of cars that we lost due to wrecks all across the entirety of that last lap. So pretty much everyone but the top 2 is kind of where you would expect them to be because everyone else is just kind of scattered about.
And looking down the next page here, go ahead, Hunter, as we move on to 11th through 20th.
Well, I was going to say the last 2 Area 500s, the winner wasn't leading at the white flag lap, and we saw that again. So make that 3 in a row. There we see kind of where the rest of the field was that was running up front. Jake Nichols got caught up in that. Greg Mitchell, Dom DeLeo had some hard hits. The 9 of Bell was up in the air, almost flipped over. And there's Garrett Grant, Sailor Mouth over there in 17th. And then Scioli and Weishart rounding out the top 20. This is all types of mumbo-jumbo here.
Yeah, then looking down 21st through 30th, drivers that got caught up in things. Balacino in 23rd didn't end his race the way that he would have liked. In the 1 car of Seth Noel, you have to feel for him, Finney, and he was battling for the lead and kind of got just shuffled off to the inside.
Yeah, it's a really, really unfortunate feeling. You know, he did pretty much everything he could of this entire race, keeping that 1 car up in the front. Definitely had a race-winning car, and you had the win within his sights, or at least a very solid finish. And to walk away out of here with 25th, I'm sure he's gonna be very disappointed.
Rest of the order here as we go down: Brandon Key, Culberson, and many, many more out and damaged. But one driver that was not out and damaged was Tyler Nichols, who comes home in 3rd place in the number 41. A lot of dramas there on the closing laps there, Tyler, but you got it done. P3, take us through what you saw those last couple restarts.
I mean, I was just trying to stay in line and really be careful first on the first one with like 15 to go. And after the next wreck, I was like, you know what, I'm going whatever line's going, I'm going. I went top, I followed, and just did what I could to stay clean and stay straight. I got hit on that 1 caution, kept it straight, kept it fine, and it worked out.
It seems like with these new cars, the runs are just so big and you have to manage them. When we get those last couple laps here in a green-white checkered, how desperate does everybody feel around you? And do you feel like you have the ability to move forward and you're just blocked in by other cars, or you're just waiting for the wreck?
I think for most of the race for me, I was waiting for the wreck, and then towards the end there, with like 11 or 12 to go, I'm still waiting for the wreck because I feel like they're going to wreck again. But I'm also being a little more aggressive at the same time. I think it's really hard to make moves though, just because it's really top and bottom centric. Like you can't make a move in the middle on your own, like unless you have somebody pushing you behind you, and even then you stall out really easily. So I knew the top has the most momentum, so I rolled with it. And I mean, you gotta fight for every inch because everybody else is going to do the same. And it got sketchy, but it worked out, I guess.
Well, Tyler, you're bringing home P3 in the first race of the season. Congratulations, at top 5. We'll see you next week at Chicagoland.
I appreciate it. Thank my team, too. They did a great job.
All right, thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Moving on now to Alex Weaver, who came home second place in the number 4, did a little bit of everything to try to get around Travis Beckner in the closing moments there, Alex. Well, 12th to 2nd tonight. Didn't seem like we saw you up front a whole lot there, just kind of shuffling around the bottom half of the top 10. But come the 2-3 laps to go, there you are. Come the white flag, you're bouncing off of people down the backstretch, and then bam, up into second place with a shot at the win. What more could you have done to get that checkered flag?
I really just needed to help behind in the last corner there. Last green white checkered there, we were trying to coordinate with the teammates to see if we can't get going on the outside. And, luckily it just opened up perfectly to run right straight through the bottom there with Seth. And I thought we had a good chance there. But, as you've seen, chaos just broke loose right in front of us, behind us, beside us, everywhere. Really not a whole lot more I can do, especially in that final lap. But just really satisfied with this P2 right there.
Well, looking ahead to the season, again, only really 12 regular season rounds, so a second place is a great place to start. How confident are you that you can repeat this next week and beyond?
Very confident. This is a great start. It's first race in. I'm hoping to continue the momentum throughout the rest of the season. So I'm really going to look forward to it and enjoy it.
All right, Alex, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations, P2 here in the Area 500. Job well done. We'll see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
Moving on now to your race winner, the Area 500 winner for 2022's fall season. Travis Beckner gets it done in a wild and unlikely, perhaps, sprint to the finish. Travis, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, take us through your run to the end there. We heard you're on board your radio from your team there on those closing laps. What a wild thing to see out the windshield, cars crashing, and then there you are leading the way into turn 3. Take us through it.
Oh my God, I won.
You did. You won.
Yeah, I did not know what to do. I was starting 9th on the final restart. I got spun before that 3 wide incident. Didn't get any damage from, well, I did, but not as much as I thought it was going to be. But it was crazy there at the end. I had my teammate Seth Knoll on the inside in the lead, and then I just had a good run, went on the outside, and then the other guy that was on the outside just, I don't know what happened, netcode or something, and they both wrecked, and I ended up coming out to the lead. And two wins. I can't believe I got 2 wins in a row from the duel to here. It was awesome.
Well, as we look forward to the season, we were just mentioning to Alex Weaver, there's really 12 main points rounds, 12 regular season races. How about getting a monkey off your back here, getting a win at a super speedway? These are the ones that typically derail championship hopes. I know we're early in the season, round number 1, but certainly this gets one of those bad finishes off the scorecard and puts you up at the top.
Yeah, for sure. Is it okay after we do the interview if I can thank a few people?
Absolutely.
Yeah, huge shout out to my aunt and uncle. They told me to come on over and do the races over here because we just had Hurricane Ian come through. And my dad don't have power still, which is where I usually race. And just everybody that helped out with this. It's been a crazy past few days down here in Southwest Florida. And yeah, also want to thank my sponsors, Collier Cutters Landscaping of Southwest Florida, Rick's Hot Sauce, Palmetto State Army, and I think that's it. I don't know though. But and McConey's Setup Shops. But yeah, it was crazy. And thank you guys for doing the time out of your day to come on up here and do this.
Well, absolutely, Travis. Hey, congratulations, man. These are hard to win, especially in the chaos there at the end. You put yourself in the right spot all night long and got it done here at Daytona. So congratulations. Let it soak in, and we'll see if you can repeat it again next week when we head to Chicagoland.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Travis. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
All right, guys, let's finish off this broadcast. What a race. What a night for Travis Beckner. We talked about his struggles having to move the racing rig to a different household because of Hurricane Ian. Well, it paid off, and The seas parted this time for Travis and gets it done here at Daytona. First of all, Finn, your final thoughts on this race. It was a wild one through and through, but also some fantastic racing all night.
Yeah, really solid stuff. Excellent driving from everyone out there. There were many times I thought there should have probably been a wreck and somehow managed to make their way on through. It just overall it made it very entertaining. Saw some great battles for the lead. It wasn't boring at any point in the broadcast. Even when they were single file, there's always constantly something going on, something to look forward to. So great racing overall.
Yeah, absolutely chaos. Kind of what we expected there at the end. Touched up on where the 28 of Travis Beckner was, because I knew that there was chaos coming, just didn't know when and where, but he was inside that top 10 threshold, like you said there, Finian, and boy, I mean, cards just fall right into your favor sometimes, and it fell right into the lap of Travis Beckner, and he can now say that he is an Area 500 champion.
Well, certainly it was a fun race to follow, especially with the additional pit lane conversation from Eric Wineland. Eric, thanks so much for doing that. That added a new dynamic to the broadcast with that radio that I have never experienced before. Your thoughts on this race and how dynamic it was from your perspective on pit lane tonight?
Yeah, Kyle, first of all, thank you for having me tonight. I very much enjoyed doing this and look forward to the weeks to come with this sort of thing and playing with it. So, no, just incredible racing tonight, up and down pit road, listening to each driver communicate with their team and get themselves set up. They knew the runs were big. They knew when it was going to happen. It just needed to be in their favor with the numbers. And the seas parted for Travis Beckner. Literally, I mean, you can't get much bigger of a storyline, Kyle, than having your home hit by Hurricane Ian, having to move the sim rig, like you said, and pulling home a win in the first race of the season. And he locks himself into the playoffs. He doesn't have to worry about the rest of these regular season races as we head to Chicagoland next week. I don't know that it'll be quite as chaotic on the radio, but I'm definitely looking forward to it, Kyle.
I'm really excited for it. Now, I hail from upstate New York, so Watkins Glen is always my home track. But now that I live in Chicago, I guess Chicagoland's a little bit of a homecoming for me. So we'll see you all next week at Chicagoland Speedway. We've got more Racing Hunter this week, starting with tomorrow night.
Yep, tomorrow night, the Area Truck Series. It's Truck Tuesday, everybody. The Area Truck Series will be taking on Daytona. And the Launchbox Series will be taking Daytona as well Thursday night, all at 8:40 Eastern, here on Sim TV on YouTube and Area iRacing on Twitch. And I think that's going to do it here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And thank everyone for donating to the Red Cross and those in the efforts for Hurricane Ian. Kyle, Finian, it was a pleasure being up here. You too, Eric. Thanks for coming along. I can't wait for the rest of the season to kick off. We only did one points race, and I'm ready for more.
Let's do it again next week. Chicagoland next Monday. We'll see you there.